live. Jeremy Knight at the Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Wow, do we have a massive topic today. I have some amazing guests. You might be able to guess some of them, you might not, but my guests tonight are fantastic. The chat room is already lit up. Hello, Joel. Good to see you, my man. We will be seeing you Thursday, buddy, doing a walk on your new build house. Stoked about that. Sanjeev, what's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Nancy, as always, hello, hello. Nancy, I got some people that you're gonna like on this thread tonight. And all right, so let's. Oh yeah, here we go. So no masks. That's actually, we have to throw that into that wasn't something we were going to talk about tonight, but it looks like we will have to talk about the removal of the mask mandate and what that means for our market, because it does mean something. Okay, first off, so I have some great people on here. I got some lenders that are going to help us talk about what's going on with rates. We're going to have some agents to talk about what they've been experiencing in the market. Obviously, we're also going to be talking about what the interest rates raising means. If you didn't know, I put it on my community page. Definitely look out for the community page. And I've seen a lot more comments and interest in that. So please keep commenting on there and sharing. I appreciate that. So I'm not going to hold this up any longer. Let's talk about what you really want to talk about, and that is tonight's sponsor, my beverage, Noble Drink. I'm just kidding. That's not the sponsor. We're not sponsored on this page. We're not cool enough for that yet. So let's talk about this, though. The numbers came out, and this is going to be really important to what's gone on in the market and what rates are going to do. So let's hit this real quick. So the median in so when they look at this, the median for Round Rock and Austin, they call it the MSA, up 19%. This is what I look at the most, 0.4 months of inventory. That's crazy. Bastrop, we talked about Bastrop on the channel last week, 0.8 and up 10%. So less than a month of inventory with Bastrop. That is insanely bananas. I don't even know what to tell you there. Caldwell County, which is really not our area, but yeah, City of Austin, 455 median, 19% up. Look at this, 23% more closed volume, but 46% less active. So people are bidding like crazy over list price. We've talked about on the channel a couple times about, if you followed this channel, you've seen that we've talked about, okay, people are bidding 10% over list price, now 15, now 20. This week we had people bidding 30% over list price and not getting it. Can you imagine trying to spend 30% over list price and still being told, nope, sorry? Crazy. Hayes, this is what blows my mind. We have clients that are trying to buy in Hayes right now. The median is 301. That is laughably a lie, because we're offering it well over the 400s, almost into 500 in Hayes, and still not getting it. 18% up, 0.4 months inventory. Usually if somebody wanted to buy a home under 350, we'd say, hey, Hayes is a great place. We can get you. There's good inventory down there. You could negotiate on price. Not anymore. Same thing with Travis County, up 22%. Active inventory down 63%. 5.5 month inventory. Williamson County, 0.2 of a month inventory. 0.2. Closed sales are up, and median price is up. So that's a lot of info. I hate to give you so much info right off the get, but I do want to bring on one of my favorite people, and that is Sarah Morris. Hello, Sarah Morris.
Hi, Jeremy. Thanks for having me back.
I'm glad you're here. So if none of you, if no one knows who Sarah Morris is, she is, if anybody ever says to me, hey, I need a good lender, I say, oh, talk to Sarah. So Sarah has been my go-to. She's been on the channel in the past. Sarah, I got some important questions for you. Number one, how are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm really great. It was warm and beautiful. No more snow, no more ice. So I'm happy. I have water, I have power. I'm good.
Yeah, we talked about that. You ran out of water and ice and all that good stuff during the outage.
We all huddled together with no power. We read books. We all huddled together in bed. We felt like that first scene in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory while the grandparents sleep in bed together. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Well, we weren't. Sorry, somebody's trying to join the stream and it's showing they're not in there. So don't know. I'm gonna tell them to try again. Sorry. So one of the other lenders I was going to bring on here late to the party, Sarah's on time. So there you go. All right, Sarah. So since he's not on here, I don't see him. We're going to start with you. So this last couple weeks, rates went up like crazy. What the heck happened?
Yeah, so it's really simple, actually. So a reason that the rates went up, the last 2 weeks is because of stimulus and fear of inflation. So the stimulus package, the stimulus plan that got voted in, that's happening, the $1.9 trillion, it has to be paid for somehow. And how the government pays for that is through treasuries. So by trying to fund the 1.9 trillion stimulus package, that means they have to put more treasuries out there and sell more treasuries, because what treasuries do is actually a loan to the against the government. So the government's paying you and you're loaning them money so they can fund everything. So by doing that and having more treasuries on the market, these are long-term treasuries, it makes them less desirable. So it causes rates to go up. So people are trying to buy them. So, and the other fear is inflation, because inflation is going to happen because we've gotten so much in debt. And then the fear of when is that going to happen plays a lot into that as well. And so people are thinking it's around the corner. Luckily, some of the Fed chairs came out this week and said, no, it's not around the corner. But, with inflation, the dollar's worth less, and that gives less value to longer term fixed rate securities and whatnot. So I'll tell you that in a second, what I'm hoping to happen.
So there's the hook. We're going to go to commercial break. Sarah's going to tell you what she thinks is going to happen after the break. I'm just kidding. Okay. So here we go. Aaron Kovac, welcome. Aaron Kovac is also, they're both, so Sarah and Aaron are two of my favorites, both with CMG Financial, two of my favorites. Hello, Aaron. Welcome to the channel. You're late.
How you guys doing? Yeah, some technical difficulties.
What happens, man? So
Sarah, good to meet you.
Good to see you, Aaron.
So Sarah was talking about why rates are skyrocketing. So Aaron, why don't you jump in? Tell me you both can answer this question, but since you just jumped on, where are rates now currently? And do you expect them to continue to see maybe go up to 4%?
So
and I want to hear Sarah's info on that. Go ahead.
Sure. So currently, we're looking at about a half point higher than what we were at the beginning of February. So if we were quoting, 2.75 or 2.875, we're looking at 3.25 to 3.375 today. Of course, there's variables in there that will vary, but overall, we're seeing a half point difference from what we were just a couple of weeks ago. Honestly, obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, but I don't really think that we're going to see them push 4% anytime soon. We've seen them jump up quite a bit. I think that they'll probably calm down here over the next couple of months, but I think we've seen the last of the historic lows. I think they've hit their bottom, and they're probably going to start trending up from here.
Sarah, where's your rebuttal to that?
So I will say this. Basically, where we were at on Thursday of last week was pretty much bonds had gone up to where they were pre-pandemic. And then, so we basically lost all gains that we had this year. And then as of this Friday and this week, we were having a nice bounce. So that means rates are starting to go up a little bit, rates are starting to go down a little bit, which is nice. And it's a good sign that hopefully maybe it'll come down again as well. But I agree with Aaron in the sense that I also don't have a crystal ball, but I feel like we are starting to see the end of historic lows. And while rates are still low, to go ahead and get off the fence and make a plan, because I think we are starting to get into a rate increasing environment. The good news is, though, that on the horizon, which may be what Aaron was kind of referencing, is that the Fed is going to be meeting on the 17th of this month. And it's really exciting because there is hopes that they're actually going to do Operation Twist again. And that's what I'm keeping my fingers crossed for. So Operation Twist essentially is that the government is going to sell their short-term securities, which are their short-term treasuries. And they're going to take that money and buy the long-term treasuries. And that way they can essentially flatten the yield curve and keep rates low. And so they did that last year, and that was one of the ways that we kept rates so low. And so the hope is that because of everything that's been going on the last 2 weeks, where people are like, oh my gosh, rates are high, we can't do this anymore, that now they're going to start doing that again. But that comes out on their meeting on the 17th of this month. So fingers crossed.
Aware Penguin says that you made it just in time, Aaron. So
Awesome.
okay, so the chats are going. So I see your question mark. I will get to it. So just like Antone said here, sorry. So all right, this is an important topic because a lot of people that are buying, they need to know what the heck they're getting into in this market, right? And they need, we tell people that, I like to say I'm more important than the lender. I'm 60%, but the reality is a lender is 60% of the transaction. And so so having a good lender on your side is very important. So that's why I wanted to bring you all on. So let's jump in to the next big question people have. If rates have gone up, both of you don't seem to think they're going to continue to skyrocket. Is that the understanding I'm getting from both of you?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so you're thinking they're going to stabilize a little bit, maybe come down a little bit, but we shouldn't see sharp gains in interest rates, right?
No, it will be counterintuitive to what the government's trying to do, especially because we know eventually inflation is going to come. It wouldn't really make sense to continue having mortgage rates go higher, because we know that once inflation comes, consumer costs and everything are going to go up. And the one consistencies they'll have is their mortgage. And we want that to stay low so they at least have more money to burn and have more money in their pocket when that happens. I mean, this is just how I'm viewing it. So I think the idea is to keep those rates low so there can be more money going around the economy, more people can buy. And that way, once inflation happens, they'll be prepared. And it's not going to be a double whammy.
I was just hoping
Agreed.
Aaron would.
No. No, I was going to chime in and say I agree with Sarah. And I also think that it's going to take us quite some time to overcome some of the economic challenges that this pandemic has proposed for our economy. And because of that, I don't see the Fed allowing rates to creep up that high to, even where we were 2 years ago when we were in the 4s and 5s. I think they're going to do their best to try and keep them low, without any unforeseen surprises coming in the future. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Cool. All right. So the major question most people are going to have, interest rates have gone up. They're not going to spike back down low, right? I mean, when I say low, under 3% right now, right? They may creep, but we're saying we're not going to see a correction of what we saw last week.
Okay, so I'm just going to preface this a little bit. So interest rates are still historically low. They're not the lowest, but they're still historically low. Because if you think about it, they're basically where they were at last February of 2020, which at that point I was like, oh my gosh, rates are so low, I have to refi right now. So they only seem higher because they went crazy low. We never even thought. But this week, I was still able, we're looking at 15 years versus 30 years. I was still able to lock someone at 1.99, So, I mean, they're still there. And that's why I'm saying do it now, because they will start. I feel like we're in a rate increasing environment, but they're not going to spike down low, and they're probably not going to spike high, but it's still a really good time to buy or refinance. But definitely if you're on the fence, get off the fence and do it, or else you're going to be kicking yourself a couple months from now.
So that begs the question, since the crystal ball is, and if you had the crystal ball, you probably wouldn't be on my YouTube channel. So thank you for not having it, I guess. But what does that mean for somebody's buying power right now? So here's what we're seeing in the market, and everybody pay attention right now. Please pay attention. If you're paying attention, pay attention to this right here. since March of last year, we've run out of inventory. I know people keep saying that there's going to be inventory on the horizon, and we're going to talk about that later on, but we're seeing people writing offers 30% over list price. I mean, both of them, I work with both of these two. And so they've seen me write offers and they've gone like, whoa, that's high. Right. But we got to do what's right for the client. And so the question is, with rates coming back up to where they are now, what is that going to do to somebody's buying power? And will that start putting people out of the market that we're trying to buy?
Right. Go ahead.
Sure. All right.
Come on, Aaron, jump in here.
Yeah. So I think it definitely will, especially for those first-time home buyers who are looking to put the very minimum down. And, from a debt-to-income standpoint, they're already really at their maximum borrowing ability. It could be the difference between them looking at a home for $300,000 and having to look at a home for $275,000 or $260,000. So as these rates start to creep up.
So, but what that means though in this market, if they're looking at 275 or 300, they're really got to start looking at almost 175, right? Because if they're writing offers that high over in this crazy market.
Oh yeah. Which, so I mean, you'd be the first to know if there's any homes in this market for 175.
Yeah. So do you think sorry, I'll let Sarah answer the question, but do you think that with rates going up, it's going to actually create more inventory in the market? Do you think rates would create inventory in our market to help?
I think if anything, that for some people that were on the fence about trying to get another home that currently own a home, that are on the fence of selling and buying. And I think the combination of a lot of things that are happening right now with vaccines and stuff on top of the higher interest rates, it might push people to make that decision to get in and get a rate and buy something before rates go up. So that is a possibility. But I mean, that's how I see it anyway. But yeah, I mean, that's the only way that I can view it.
So, shot in the dark. I think maybe for some investors who aren't going to come in and pay all cash, I think rates going up could potentially steer them away from potentially buying another property, say here in the Austin market, maybe, nationwide. But as those rates start to creep up, maybe some investors who are actually trying to borrow money might think twice about that.
That's
okay.
True.
So this is the point where I start bringing the friends on. So before I bring them on here's where I'm thinking. I think short term, you're going to have a lot of people spending a lot more money trying to get, because they're scared rates are going to go up even further. So you're going to see a panic buy, right? And so we're going to see a panic buy for a little bit, and then some people will start to get pushed out of the market completely. So we might see potentially less buyers, but it's not going to be very long because we don't really have inventory. And that's where I bring these two gentlemen on. Number one, Ian of Austin. Say hello to the crowd. Oh, I muted him on purpose.
I'm saying things.
Nancy, I muted him.
Hey, everybody. What's going on?
So Ian, did we actually land on a nickname for you yet?
No, not yet. Nope.
I want to see. Let's see. A Were Penguin came up with a good one last week. I don't remember what it was. Dinosaur D, please don't behave. We'd appreciate it if you didn't. You make this channel much more fun when you don't behave. And wow, now the Mullet Man is back, everyone. The Mullet Man. Say hello to Kevin Knight.
I made it. It's still here too. I didn't cut my hair.
Yeah, it's.
I was starting to
I
grow
wish
a
I had
mullet.
that hair.
I was starting to grow a mullet up here, so I just had to get the hair cut. So
Let me give you a hint. You don't have to wish that you're growing mullets.
All right, gentlemen and ladies. So here's the question then. Rates going up. What happens to inventory? Where's inventory going? What the hell is going to happen in this market? Ian, I let you on first, so you get to go first.
Oh my gosh. So I'm actually reading some of these comments. One person said that I hope that it dips again. to me, it's as volatile based on what Sarah had said and based on some of the historic things we've seen. I think it's as volatile as Ethereum or Bitcoin right now, right? Like it has the potential to fluctuate. And I think a lot of people are holding out for that same thing. I do worry if a lot of people end up feeling that pressure, if they end up going even higher in the bids in the near term. That's a fear I have. It's already hard enough for people to get houses. The inventory is already so low.
I'm enjoying this comment. Hey, look, the real Neil Patel's back, everyone.
Nice.
Oh, the real one.
The real one.
Neil, the real Neil. Carolyn, hello. Nancy said hello to you too, Ian.
Hi.
All right. Kevin, what's your thoughts on this housing market nonsense?
I mean, in regards to interest rates, or just generally speaking right now?
You know what? It's your channel now. You've taken over.
Okay, fine. Get off here. It's my turn. Okay, just
yeah,
it's my turn.
I want to hear from you.
Well, I think it's interesting because what Ian said, talking about the rising interest rates, wanting to wait till it goes back down. I mean, I understand that feeling, but if you treat this like what Ian was talking about with cryptocurrency or with stock market investing, like it's hard, you don't time the bottom of the market. It's hard to do that. And I know it's a little bit different with that, but what anyone would tell you is if you're day trading, I mean, if you're day trading interest rates on houses, or if you're flipping houses every day or whatever, yeah, you should be really interested in how the interest rates play out. But if you're buying, I mean, this is a long-term investment. A house is a long-term investment. So I wouldn't wait around to see what an interest rate is going to do. Wherever the interest rate is right now, in my opinion, it's a good rate still. So it shouldn't keep you from waiting to buy another house. For example, if the right property comes up, don't not buy it because you're waiting for the interest rates to change.
And so that's where I think that a lot of people are going to jump in that were, watching rates low and kind of sitting back are now jumping into the pool, right? So we're going to see a lot more people start panic buying even more. So, the question right here is, what if inventory increases, right? And that's the big question. Where is this magic inventory coming from? I was watching my friend Christina Smallhorn put out a video today, and she was saying that in her video, she's like, "Oh, the home builders are back. They're all the things that were stopping them from building quickly. They're back. They're running." I'm like, "What the are you talking about?" In Austin, okay, that might be in Louisiana, but in Austin, like builders are not building as quickly as they were. Who on here says that builders are building like mad and they're back?
See, I'm gonna partially agree. Here's what happened. So I had
okay, Ian, if you disagree, we're taking
partially,
not
partially. I had 3 builders reach out to me yesterday and today with inventory sheets. So sure enough, I'm reaching out to clients that had been interested, and one of them, I got a text around or an email around noon. By 3 o'clock, when we were trying to schedule, all gone. They were all sold out. So it doesn't even matter if they can put that they're back, but all these people that were backlogged, that's really what I'm worried about. Mm-hmm. Because now you have a lot of hungry people.
Jeremy's gone. Let's talk about what we want to talk about. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Sorry, I was this light. My face is like pink today. I don't know what the heck it is. So
bourbon.
I'm hot. I'm part. Let me take my pants off. All right. That's the after hours, right? When we hit 9 o'clock, this after hours.
That's the Twitch stream. That's Jeremy's Twitch channel.
Yeah. So
Jeremy doesn't have a Twitch channel.
Not that you know of, Ian.
That's true.
He has an OnlyFans.
OnlyFans?
Yeah, OnlyFans.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, follow me on Instagram.
He has a Fansly. Shout out to my client.
Mm-hmm. So that being said, all right. So Ian, Kevin, you put out offers this week. Aaron and Sarah, you've seen offers come across your desk, obviously. Yeah. What are offers? How much over are you seeing offers going right now? Because this is going to lead to my next question.
A lot.
25, 50, 75, you name it. Whatever it takes, I guess.
Yeah,
right
I think
now.
it's relative to the. Go ahead, Sarah. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying right now I'm seeing a lot of people offer 20 to 25% over asking. The only time that I'm not seeing that happen is the only time I see a borrower that's able to get something that is not a lot over asking is with a new build. But of course, that's someone that's been on a list, got super lucky, where their number was called or they won whatever that lot lottery was. So if you don't have a lot of extra money to offer high over asking, then I've been getting a lot of like the new construction contracts coming in. But again, they've been on those lists for a while. But besides that, on resales, yeah, I'm seeing like 20, 25%, unless it's like way like in another city where it's not as competitive as Austin. I actually had something come through that got seller paid closing costs negotiated into it, and I was dumbstruck. So it's out there, just not anywhere near Austin.
And that's a good point, because this leads to the video that should have been this week, but interest rates went up. So I was going to do this video as my standalone video, but then I was also going to do the video about where I'm purchasing my next investment property. Sarah, don't tell anybody. We can't give this one out of the bag. So okay. Don't tell anybody. Guys, don't tell anybody. But it's not in Austin. I'm not buying investment property in Austin. Can you believe that? Because guess what? Who's seeing inventory and as a new build? So I'm buying a new build, but you can't buy a new build as an investor right now anywhere in Austin. So I had to go outside of Austin. I found a great place. It's beautiful. It's going to rent really well. It's right next to the train tracks. It's great. All right. So sorry, I had to throw that out there. All right. So we will talk about that. I would love to see some more guesses because I think only one person got it. So let's talk about this. We're seeing offers that are easily 30% over list price, 70, 100, whatever. The big question is so number one, we thought rates would have helped reduce this crazy uptick in prices, right? Because this is crazy. 30% over list price is crazy. So that hasn't happened. The mask mandate just today got overturned in Texas. So that's going to have an impact on our market. What do you think something like that and the vaccines? Sorry, there we go. What do you think that and the vaccines is going to do for our housing market? Should we see more inventory? Are people going to start saying, okay, now I can put my house in the market? Are buyers going to start jumping in the pool versus they saw interest rates go up? Now they get a vaccine. Now they're ready to go show homes. Like what? And they don't have to wear masks. What do you think is going to happen with those three things? I'll start with Kevin just because he looks so freaking dapper.
Man, I appreciate that. I have been out all day long, so I didn't even bother to do anything different. I honestly think that the changing of the masks, like I just felt this collective sigh of relief and even jealousy from some folks I quickly saw on Instagram that were just like, why isn't my state doing that yet? And you can just tell everybody's been waiting. We've been waiting a year to live in some kind of, it's weird that this happened today because I was with some clients today and I said, are we just going to like wear these forever? And then nobody ever says anything. We're all just kind of like looking at each other like, are we doing this? Are we still wearing masks or not? But I actually think, if people were coming to Austin when it was arguably the most boring time of our lives where we can't even socialize and be around each other, my God, I can't imagine how many people are going to come here when they actually get to experience the city the way it's supposed to be experienced, with nightlife and good times and not the worries about the situation. But yeah, you're welcome. But I don't think it's going to help the situation at all, honestly. Like I've written a lot of offers. I've written a lot of offers lately, and none of them have stuck. And they've not been bad offers. They've been really good offers. And
that's what's blowing my mind. I mean, literally, we had a client on a 328 listing, wrote like 430 on a property that came on the market on Sunday. On Sunday. So typically, if you see a house at the market Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you get a much better shot of it of getting that property versus like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so just to go over 100,000 over list price and not get it, and the agent was my friend. Not my
Some
friend
friend.
anymore. Yeah, I know, right? No, she already let us know that we weren't high enough before, so not a big deal. Anyway, Kevin, you've upped your game. Your mic sounds great.
Oh, thank you. I can't hear it, so I trust that everybody else knows what's going on.
Nancy hasn't said anything about my mic, but okay, Nancy, we see how
It's
it
because
is.
you put it right next to your face. That's all it
This
is.
is for my ASMR podcast.
Yes.
Am I too close? Am I too close? Is that better? Is that better? Okay, I don't know what the hell it is.
No, Kevin's works.
Kevin reads the MLS.
So
Active.
So the big question really is inventory hitting. When's the inventory hitting, and is that going to stabilize the market? What the hell? I mean, we just said that, the masks thing isn't going to make a difference. I mean, Ian, do you think that Kevin talked about it. Do you think those three things are going to help our market where it's not as crazy, or do you think it's going to make it even worse?
So, I was out this weekend with some clients, and I like to do the explore thing, like explore town as much as I can on scooters, all that sort of stuff, to give people a real feel of the city when they visit. And it was chaos. Pre-pandemic chaos in Austin this past weekend, and that was before they lifted the mask mandate.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of people out. I was at Rock Rose in the Domain area, and while people were wearing masks, it was packed. Movie theater was open, just everything, food trucks, lines. It didn't seem to matter. So I agree with Kevin 100%. Since they made that change, I think it's going to be all out war. Yeah.
Sarah, what do you think?
I agree. I mean, I think that the fact that people will be able to come here and experience more of what Austin truly has to offer is going to be a huge selling point and bring even more people here. One of the things, though, that I'd like to consider, because I have one of my really good friends who actually manages a luxury, assisted living center, or unassisted, a luxury senior center that you live in. And obviously, when the pandemic hit, a lot less people are moving there out of fear. So my hope is on that market, because we do have a lot of people that are Austinites and have been here most of their lives. And it's an older population that had a fear of moving and a fear of moving into, these facilities or, the luxury senior resorts and things like that and sell their homes because they, were worried about their health. So I think that possibly with everything that's going on with vaccine and everything else, that could open up some inventory there where we have a lot of the senior market moving on and selling their homes now because they're at a higher comfort level. So I talked to her.
Ian looks so disgusted right now. What the heck, Ian?
No, I'm reading and I'm making sure my mic is close to my face. I want to sound good like
I was like, dang. You said, oh, my friend. And Ian's
that's my processing face. Don't worry about it.
His resting processing
You don't
face.
even know her, Ian.
Yeah. What about you, Aaron? We'll bring you back in since you were late. I'm just going to go ahead and tell everybody, if you weren't on earlier, Aaron was late to the podcast. So go ahead, Aaron. You were late. Go ahead. What were we talking about again?
Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah.
Sarah touched on a part that I was going to mention, but I think that with the economy, well, not the economy, but the state kind of reopening and masks going away, I think that will bring back some level of comfortability to people who might have otherwise been not wanting to move or relocate. And I also think that as we start to get more vaccines out, the economy kind of going back to normal a bit, people getting back into the workforce, getting jobs again, I think that those things will make people more comfortable with listing their houses for sale, relocating, whether it be to another area of Texas or out of state or, what have you. I think that may potentially be an opportunity to where we might see more inventory hit the market as people start to be able to find more jobs after having lost so many over the last year or so.
That's one thing I think that, I've seen people debate on what's going to happen with the market in general, the housing market, everything. And, some people are saying, well, that the unemployment rate had come down at such a fast pace that it was now down to back when our recovery back, I think when Obama was president. So our that since we had come down to that level that the market isn't going to really crash because now we're back on recovery mode is what they were saying. So that might be something that I think it drives more people back in the market too. They recover. Now, the other thing that everybody kept saying that was going to drive inventory was the forbearance issue. Now we have two lenders on. They can actually talk about forbearance, know what the hell they're talking about. Because let's be honest, Ian and Kevin's mullet know nothing about forbearance. So do you think that Ian's hat and Kevin's mullet know nothing about forbearance? So do you think forbearance, I know the can has been kicked down the road, but what are you seeing? So the can has been kicked down the road as far as when people need to pay, but the number of people on forbearance has gone down. So do you think forbearance issues are going to prevent people from buying in the future? What does that look like? Sarah, ladies first.
So as far, when you say prevent people from buying, do you mean like people on forbearance now, if it's going to prevent them?
Yeah, so that's one thing nobody's really talking about is somebody that went on forbearance and then is trying to buy, like at a certain scenario they can't purchase. And I don't think people know this until their forbearance is completely cleared out.
Yeah, so I've actually helped a couple people buy that were currently on forbearance or deferment on their mortgages, and they do have to be brought current. It depends. Now, there's certain nuances depending on what type of loan they're buying, but the loans do have to be brought current. They have to show, depending on the type of loan, they might have to make a certain amount of payments before they can qualify and close on the new home. But you can't be in deferment or forbearance on a home on your current mortgage and then expect to be able to buy a home when you show that you can't make payments on your current home. So that's not a very strong position to show a lender, like, I can make payments, but I'm not making payments and I haven't for a year. I think forbearance and deferment is a very good thing that was able to be there for folks that lost jobs unexpectedly, so they wouldn't be able to lose their homes. I think it was very good, but a lot of people decided to go on forbearance or deferment because they decide, why not? I'll save some extra money. If this is offered to me, then I'll go ahead and do it without realizing the repercussions and without realizing like, oh, this isn't a forgiven payment. This is something that you still have to pay.
Yeah.
But now all at once. Or it gets added on to your loan, the loan modification, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, yeah, I mean, you have to bring that current. If you plan on buying a home, you can't buy it while still being deferred for forbearance.
Ron?
Yeah, and you're also going to have a very good explanation as to why you had requested that forbearance at the time. When you go to buy that new home, underwriters, lenders, we're going to look at it and wonder the question that Sarah had raised, which is, if you couldn't make the payment on the current home that you're in, what makes us believe that you're going to be able to make that payment on the next one? So we're going to have a strong explanation that's going to tell the story as to what caused you to request that deferment for forbearance. And, if you have a strong case there, it may play out, but at the end of the day, whatever loan is currently in forbearance or deferment, it's going to have to be brought back current. And it is something that has caused some hiccups for some people out there, whether it be buying or refinancing over the past year. But I haven't seen a case yet where when they did bring it current, that it stopped them. Obviously, there's other things to take into consideration, but they bring it current and they should be in good shape.
So the major question then is, are we going to see inventory from all the people that are on forbearance? And the reality is not in 2021. And I know Ian's hat and Mr. Mullet agree that we're not going to see a turn because of forbearance issues. But this Master Jedi, you just put a question up that Ian has been talking about and answering in a way for the last few weeks that this question perfectly sums up what Ian's been saying. Ian said, to paraphrase, that people, like big businesses, big tech, big companies are coming out here. Don't come out here quickly. So the announcement that Apple was coming out here, those people are finally starting to come out here. So yes, Apple Bay Area money is finally coming to be here. What happens when Tesla gets here? There are already Tesla execs calling. I just talked to a Tesla exec the other day that's coming out. I know Kevin's working with somebody from Tesla. Ian, probably everybody's probably working with somebody from Tesla right now. So we are seeing this now, and everybody's saying there's gonna be more inventory. And even I will go ahead and go on record and say by July we won't be at 0.5 months inventory. We'll probably be at 0.8, 0.9. But even then, people will be buying that inventory like crazy. My prediction, and Ian and Kevin, I want to get your take on this. My prediction is we will see a slowdown where we're not seeing 30 to 40% over list price, but we'll still see 20% over list price. And that's not going to stop even through 2022. Gents, I want to hear your response to that.
Kevin, you've got OnlyFans, so you got to.
No, Fansly. It's Fansly now.
Yeah,
All right,
Fansly. That's my client's site, so we got to plug that one.
Yeah.
So we're basing this on what we know today of the market, though. So when people are listing homes today, and even then, so I wrote an offer this weekend on a house listed for $475. That was higher than the highest sale, even that closed in February.
And that goes to Pablo's question here, or Pablo's remark. Go ahead.
So that specific one, and this is where I'm getting at. That specific house was listed for $475, which is higher than the comps would have even comped it based on sales that just closed in February. So we wrote an offer for not much more than that, which was already ridiculously high. And that went for $110,000 over ask. So that was 25% over. So what's going to happen is that those houses, like we're all kind of feeling our way through this market right now about where houses should be priced. And no agent wants to tell their client that it's worth a much higher number. And then that client doesn't get $100,000 over their ask. And then they feel like, they weren't getting what they thought they were going to get because everybody else sold for 100 over ask, or you know what I'm saying? Like this is going to change. So as the year goes on, yes, I do think we'll get list prices or like contract prices over ask still, but I also think you're going to see a drastic increase in where we're listing those prices anyway. And so it is going to naturally shake this market out just a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I've seen some of these guys talking about like, how will this change? Will people stop buying? They might not compete right at this moment, but I don't see that it's going to completely drive people away. In fact, when you know that you can't have something, you want it even more. So you'll step away right now being very frustrated. And then you're going to see your friends like, I moved to Austin. It's the best thing I've ever done. You're like, I got to go to Austin. Now I got to figure out a way to get there. And now all of a sudden the house that you wouldn't spend $500 for before, you're willing to spend $600 for right now because you need to have it. So what will probably happen, of course, builders and developers right now, like I spent today showing land to a developer interested in coming here, to take advantage of this market. There is going to be a delay in what they are offering to the market. So we have to rely on what the builders are going to do in the short term, because just deciding today that you want to build more houses is not going to solve our problem anytime soon. Yeah. So yes, I'm okay with this shaking out a little bit, but it's not going to, the thing that, I'm not trying to say it's a bad thing. It's okay to have these thoughts, but to say that within a short period of time that this is going to affect our market negatively, it's not. I mean, I'll go on record as saying it's not going to be a negative detriment to us in anytime soon. Jeremy's right. Through 2022, at least, right? At least. It's all about supply and demand. Pricing is based on supply and demand. Even if we have half as many houses listed, and even if we have slightly more than half as many buyers, that's still an over demand, right? It's going to keep prices very high.
Yeah, and Casey just nailed it right here. One thing that will prevent resale will be the inability to buy another home, maybe if they sell high enough, though. And that is the problem that we are seeing. Yes. All these people, in Christina Smallhorn, she drives me crazy. I love her to death, but she drives me crazy to tell me that builders are back. Builders are working as fast as they can, but they cannot keep up with demand. So builders are not back by that regard. Ian, you've been very patient, and we let Kevin's mullet, just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
I had a lot to say.
Flapping.
So many secrets in this moment.
So, but what's your thought on the market? I mean, there's so many crazy things happening. I mean, what's your take?
So the short
Make it
answer,
quick.
TLDR, I agree with Kevin. That's the short answer. First, I want to address that face I made earlier. What happened is I took a sip of coffee from this morning.
Mhm.
I realize now that connection. happened. I was like,
Oh, okay.
that's why I was making that angry face. Okay,
25 minutes later. Okay.
I'll let it pass.
I couldn't talk. Okay, so I think a lot of people, it depends on what they're looking at. A lot of people are looking at realtor.com and Zillow, and I have to be careful how I say this.
Bless their hearts.
Not everyone understands that the prices you see on there are what you're planning to pay, right? It's what closes and not what's pending, because you can't count that. It's what actually closes. And so what Kevin was saying, short term, in 2, 3, every month, these houses are closing higher. And if you had a house that was $400,000 last month and then it closes for $500,000, that is now the new baseline. So even if inventory increases, that baseline doesn't change. The baseline, the bar has been raised.
My $500,000 house that I bought 2 years ago is worth $1 million. I guarantee you, if I put my house on the market right now at $850,000, it would sell for $1 million. Okay, so I wrote something down here. We're talking about stuff selling way over list price. We have the lenders on to answer the questions that you want. So please, I'm about to ask a very important question to these two lenders. I'm going to grill them very hard. I want to hear your hardest grilling questions for these lenders, because these two people right here are in the balance of you buying a home.
Yeah. Whataburger or In-N-Out?
Appraisals. Wait. Oh, come on, get up there. Appraisals. Yeah, appraisals. So
Excellent.
we're writing offers $1 bajillion over list price. You two are on the back end. Now, I have to preface this. I tell every buyer to go with the local lender because you have a better appraisal pool. You two have very similar appraisal pools. So what are you seeing with these people who are writing $1 bajillion over list price? What is that doing with appraisals? One, and number two, I'm going to let Aaron start because you started last time. Number one, what are you seeing with appraisals? And number two, what is happening with appraisers? Are we getting prices up? And I don't know. We'll ask another third question. I don't want to get past you. Go ahead, Aaron. I asked a question. I think.
All right. Well, first off, gonna need to say a prayer when that appraisal gets done. I'm just kidding. No, we've I've seen a couple of low appraisals in the last couple of months. None of them have been that too far off. I think there was one that was 3,000, another that was 3,000 short, and then 5,000 short. So at the same time, those ones, they didn't have to go crazy 25, 30% over asking. I think that we are seeing a lot more comps come onto the market. In fact, the most recent purchase I closed, the house actually appraised for $5,000 more than what they went under contract for, which was great news. And that was just out by the airport in Tesla factory. So
look at you.
Yeah.
Sorry, the bourbon's talking, guys. I apologize for my snappy comments. Sorry. Yeah.
But no, with appraisals, they are taking a lot longer right now than they normally did even 6 months ago. With throwing that storm into the mix in the last 2 weeks, and you have a lot of appraisers that are needing to get back out there to recertify or go through a final inspection, if you will, similar to what's done on a new build property. They're now having to go back and do that for resales and even refinances for some lenders, just to make sure that those properties weren't affected by the storm itself. So the appraisals are taking longer, and in addition to that, we're just trying to meet value, but with how far people are having to offer over asking just to get a contract, it's making that a challenge. But I'll turn it over to Sarah.
No, I think that was a lot of really good points, Aaron. What I've been seeing is that there's a big difference between resale versus new construction. So if you have, and purchase versus refinance. So if you have a refinance and it was in a new sale, it was in a new build community, and you saw, and it closed out, so there haven't been recent sales there, then a lot of the comps might be based off of final sales from, you know, when they went under contract a year ago and closed, versus, you know, recent comps where we would see that appreciation. So that can kind of hurt people there. If you're in a community where there have been recent sales, great, then those comps are there to help rationalize, you know, the higher offer amount that you went under contract for. If it's a brand new construction, we've been pretty lucky on those so far, at least on the deals I have. But yeah, I mean, you just have to hope that there's comps that can rationalize it when you do that. And then I would also say that appraisal waivers are really great. So if
to talk about that, how does one go about getting appraisal waiver? Because when people hear appraisal waivers, they're hearing, you know, myself, Mulletman, and Ian say you have to write an appraisal waiver, which means you're making up the difference if it doesn't appraise. What does an appraisal waiver to you mean? Because there's two types of appraisal waivers.
Exactly. So appraisal waiver in my world, not relating to the real estate contract, is that when we run a conventional loan through our automated underwriting system, then it comes back where we don't need to get an appraisal done on a property. So that means that's for Ian next. But anyway, so usually it's more likely on a purchase that you can get an appraisal waiver if you put 20 or 25% down on a property. And we had a lot of those, especially in the fall and beginning of this year, which was great because then we didn't have to worry about
seeing
anything.
them now, though, because I haven't seen an appraisal waiver on your end in a month.
It's also property specific too, which, I mean, none of us are going to know what those specifics are related to any individual property. We run this past Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac's underwriting systems and through their guidelines, and we get a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And down payment does help with that, but a lot of it has to do with the specific property. I've gotten an appraisal waiver on a house that was 20 years old, and the buyers were putting 20% down, and I didn't get one on a house that was 2 years old, and they were putting 20% down. So that you can only really chalk up to the property.
Is this true? Speaking of appraisal waivers, Audi Rowe, I'm not going to throw anything out there, but Sarah may have or may not have gotten Audi appraisal waiver on a property that would not have appraised, in my opinion. So good job there, Sarah. So yes, so appraisal waivers. You said that it depends on how much they put down, and then it's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac specific. How often are you still in this market where we're seeing offers like $9 bajillion over list price? How many times are you actually still seeing appraisal waivers in this fucked up market?
Honestly, lately I've had a lot. Almost all the deals that have come through have been new construction, so we haven't even gotten there yet. On the resales, I haven't seen them as much as I did at the beginning of the year and in the fall. And kind of to piggyback of what Aaron said, so when we run it through that system I talked about with Fannie and Freddie, they have their own compilation of data from transactions that have been sold to them directly, and they build off of that for value. Be like, oh, they basically run through their database and figure out what the risk assessment is, essentially, and be like, oh, this is strong enough file and property where we don't need an appraisal. And that's pretty much how that works on the back end. But I haven't had any new opportunities. If y'all want to send some over and we can try them out, sure. But everything's in new construction lately.
So one thing I wanted to add that Kevin had mentioned, I don't want to sidetrack us at all, but I think the one thing that I worry about with this market and how high buyers are having to go just to get a property, that it's maybe setting them up for a false sense of reality long term. You know, whether it be investors that are buying into town and they're seeing, man, you know, the appreciation on some of these houses in just the last 1, 2, 3 or 4 years. I think that they're buying in a sense of FOMO, thinking they got to get into this market, and then they can turn around in 1 to 4 to 5 or more years, and then get the same amount over asking that they're having to pay today. Which I mean, I'm sure Austin will still be a very hot place to live down the road, but I don't know if they're going to be able to sell that property in the same manner that they bought it today, if that makes sense.
I saw property hit the MLS today, and I called Sarah right away. I was like, Sarah, what do you think about this one? Because it listed, and I'm like, this listed for a decent price, and I could sell this after putting 40, 50 grand into it. I would make 150 grand easily in this market, and it's on the MLS. Nobody can get into it because the seller's not having any showing. So Mr. Jeremy was going to write an offer on that bad boy today. Kevin, I'll tell you which one it is. Ian, I'm not telling you. So just kidding. Love you, Ian.
Thank you.
So I lost my train of thought. It's definitely not the bourbon talking, but we were talking about appraisals. Aaron was talking about how shiny his room is, not his head. We're not talking about that.
Yeah.
Don't mention that.
I knew I shouldn't have busted before the video.
All right. So about to close on a condo that had storm damage and it's under repair now. Can I change my loan from residential to investment at the same time, at the same rate I locked before? Or what's your recommendation? Great lender question. Ian, what's your, I'm just taking.
Like, no.
So Raquel, I would say this, that when that investment property, interest rates for investment properties are typically higher than for a primary resident purchase. So most likely if you're looking to switch from a primary to an investment, you're going to see an increase in rate, especially if you locked in the rate prior to the last 2 to 3 weeks. You're probably going to see an even higher increase in rate just because of what the market's done. So I would, if you have a great rate and it's going to be your primary or second home, I recommend that you keep it. But if you need to make a switch, definitely talk to whoever lender you're working with and see what they can offer you.
And I would also add that changing the loan from a primary to an investment wouldn't necessarily take away from the repairs that had to be made because of the storm. I'm not sure if that's where that question was going, whether that would resolve the need to have repairs done, but those repairs would have to be done regardless, no matter whether you're buying it as a primary or an investment.
Right. So the property that I'm speaking of is tenant occupied, and so they were not allowing showings.
I know what property it is.
Well, I already wrote an offer on it.
You did not. I know the address without you even saying it.
If he's going to tell you. I'm the one that needs to know.
Are you guys not paying attention to the private chats? I'm putting my fans only pictures in there in the private chat. All right. My apologies. So here's a great question. And this is one I think everyone should get on, especially Kevin's mullet. I want to hear his take on property taxes. School systems are going to be flooded with cash. They're going to be like, blah, 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 blah. They're going to like, every time the principal pulls up, you're going to hit that horn like in my Tesla that goes, wah, 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 right? That's what's going to happen. School systems are going to be flooded with cash from property tax increases on these new prices. Bad schools going to be turned around quickly. Overrated metric. I don't believe that schools are going to turn around that quickly. You have to make sure schools actually use that money wisely. I'm not saying they don't, but they don't. So there's two parts to this question that I think are very, very important. Yes, schools are going to get a lot more cash. The second is that property taxes will, in fact, impact our market. I am predicting, and I am saying this, and I will continue to say this, by July, you'll see more inventory. Now it's going to get eaten up, especially if rates come back down. But there will be more inventory in July because property owners are going to be like, I cannot pay these property taxes because they are going to go up so significantly this year. And no one is listening to me except for the 182 people watching this live stream. So, gents, how do you feel? And ladies, sorry, Kevin. School systems, what do you think? I'll start with Kevin.
Yeah, this is a good question. Actually, I had somebody else talk to me about this as well. So one thing I don't understand is the concept of a good school versus a bad school. I went to a school that was, well, they didn't rate schools back then, of course. So if they did, it's just because somebody at the cafe said your school sucks. But I went to a school there was 60 kids in my graduating class. Like, I don't understand the concept of a good school versus a bad school. They're rated on a bunch of
now on test. Yeah.
Yeah, it's based on test scores. But how in the world could you possibly, you're testing schools based on a lot of factors that don't even come to play in that regard. So I think our schools are generally pretty good anyways, across the board. I don't really think that people are like, oh, I don't want to live in this school district because I saw that they have bad ratings. I was like, it's still a great school. What they mean is that probably it's not a brand new building or something of that nature. So I think that the taxes are good for the schools, but it's not also that they're getting, the current schools aren't getting a lot more upgrades. They are in some cases, but also that new money is going to build new schools, just buildings in new areas. So I don't know I honestly don't know if you could even pinpoint how that would affect the school district. We don't have very many private schools here either. That's the big thing we're talking about today is, I think generally our schools are good across the board. So I don't know if that's a problem.
Yeah.
Sarah, you have a child in school. None of the other people except for, well, Kevin has children in school. The three of us on this side of the screen have kids in school. We got some dinks on the other side.
Ooh. Ooh.
To get to this question, though, it's actually really a good question because it actually got brought up this week. So my school district is expanding and they're building a new elementary school. And they actually brought up, which is going to be huge and nice and open up in the fall, but they brought up that now they have X amount of elementary schools, but they only have 2 middle schools. So I think they're going to have 5 elementary schools and only 2 middle schools to feed into. And now they're trying to figure out, the districting. Yeah, that's a word. And the attendance.
One more time.
Boundaries and all that stuff. So again, they're going to have to keep expanding. But with the amount of people coming in here and with those increased property taxes and taxes going to the schools, you're right, Kevin. They have to expand. More people, more kids. They need more space. So it might not be that they'll use that money to elevate the school. It's that they need to build more schools so we're not overcrowded more than we already are.
And then they might actually have, if you want to further that, then what are you going to do? Bring in better new teachers, and the new good teachers that are going to move here, are in their late 20s and early 30s and on a teacher's. Listen, my dad was a teacher for a long time, for years and years and years. And even at the peak of his tenured teaching career, he did not make a ton of money, but he loved what he did. Mm-hmm. So what do you expect that we're going to bring in teachers that make, I don't even know what their salary is, $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year on a good, I don't even know. Somebody tell me. But you cannot buy a $400,000 house on a $300,000, $350,000 salary. So I don't know. I think it makes this equation even way more complicated than that. Where are these new teachers going to live? Are we going to be able to get the best teachers, or I don't know. That's some stuff that comes to mind.
I think that's a great question. I know there's a lot of new apartment complexes that have been going up too, close by. Not like that's an answer. That's not, you can buy a house. But I agree. Yeah. I do see a problem there because that goes back to what can you buy on a teacher's salary unless you have a spouse that is making a lot more money to contribute to that. I agree. I think that will be difficult, and you might see more people having to rent because there's not a lot of leases that I've seen. That'd be a great question for y'all. What are you seeing as far as leases go? Are you seeing that there's stuff out there, or no?
We're not talking about leases on this.
No leases.
Sorry.
I get a lot of people reach out to me about leases. We have people that I refer. I would say people. I have great team members that I refer them to. Nobody on my team really does leases because there's no time for it. Just to be honest. There we go. So I second what Master Jedi is saying. Area around Pflugerville, there are quite a few lots. A prime for prime development. So I was actually, this is good. I was actually out in Fairhaven today, which is Georgetown, and you get out to Fairhaven, there is nothing around it. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of land. The problem we run into is you got to get water out there, utilities out there. There's a ton of land on the outskirts. But the taxes are incredibly high. Do you see, but the question is, do we see developments making it out there quickly? Like that's the thing is we see all this land, but it's going to take years to develop it, right? Am I wrong?
Well, I still wanted to answer the teacher question. Can I come back?
Come on, Ian.
I know. I didn't have a chance.
Hold on. Let me go back to the question. Yeah. There you go. Sarah's a super cool mom. Go ahead, Ian.
Thank you.
So I think the thing that a lot of people are overlooking is that when you're looking at these websites that are doing rating scales, they're not only rating the quality of the test scores, but they're also rating things that are subjective, like diversity, right? And without going too deep into it, when you're looking at a score, the diversity is going to change, which will impact the score. So will the amount of money that's coming in. All of these things are variables that I don't think everyone's considering when they're looking at these sites. I think that it's a really important consideration. So all these numbers are very skewed based on even throwing that one variable in there. So
Yeah.
I have further opinions on that I don't know.
No.
I don't know are good for a stream.
No, go ahead.
No. I don't.
You put yourself in the hot water you want to put yourself in. So
no. I'm just I agree. I didn't want to say it, but I agree with Ian. Like I think it's a terrible metric. I think it's completely subjective. It's terribly subjective, and I think it's created by. I don't know why those even created to give people a sense of security that they're choosing the right place to live based on their, culture or social needs or something like that. I just think it's really silly. But like I said, I went to a really terrible public school, and I besides the mullet, I think I turned out okay.
I think the mullet defines you. So I
did have a Trans Am at one time.
You make the mullet. The mullet doesn't make you. So Ian's point, here's the diversity metric. I mean, they have an A, but I've seen other specific schools that are brought down, like their overall grade brought down because of diversity, which no one on this channel is discounting diversity. Please don't say that we're doing that. But what I wanted to point out is health and safety. What the heck I don't know what health and safety
what does that mean?
I know. What does that even mean?
Yeah. How do they measure that?
In clubs and activities, so we're talking about mechanics club, robot club, like what clubs are we talking about?
Maybe
French club.
French club. Yeah, exactly. Oui. So I just
make crepes in the morning. That's it.
Yeah. You know what?
Sarah, I was in French club. That's why I'm making fun of it.
All right. So there was actually a really good thought out question here that I brought up. And I thought, this would be a good one. Do you think coming inflation will drive up home prices artificially? Will rates rise? It's a good one. That's a thinker.
Oh, while rates rise.
While rates, yeah.
Yeah, Sarah, what do you think about that?
Sarah, help us. We don't know.
Yeah, so honestly, let's think about this, right? So inflation is the arch enemy of interest rates. So as inflation rises, it's going to cause interest rates to rise without question. So I think that will price more people out of the market as interest rates rise, right? So I think that you're going to see less people making those offers over asking. And I'm thinking like when inflation goes full-fledged, right? I'm thinking like when we finally see it go up and then it causes rates to go up in like the high 3s and low 4s and things like that. I think that it will actually cause things to level out a little bit, and it won't. I don't see home prices going up anymore because you're going to have less people that will be able to buy, and also I think that you would be able to get more money as a seller if you have it kind of where it's at right now. I can't see it go up any higher, and then have people bid on it and make more money. I don't know. Like, I think if you price it higher and the people have higher rates where they can't even buy it to begin with, it's just going to hurt everybody.
And I'll add that with inflation going up and rates rising, generally that means that prices are going to have to eventually come down because people are going to be priced out of the market, and that may help reduce some of the demand. And so in order for, things to become affordable, those prices, I would imagine, would have to come down a little bit. So,
so John, to answer your question, yeah. So after 9 o'clock, we have the option. So the live stream really should only be an hour long, but we go 2 hours and maybe 3. But we call really after 9 o'clock the after hour show, and so so that's where Kevin's going, the after hour show. We got we're all gonna. It's going to get crazy. I don't want to give it away too much.
His jacket comes off.
You want me to lose the jacket? Would that help? Is that going to help?
I'm over here burning up, and this guy's going to jacket. Oh, here we go.
Just messing.
All right.
Here.
This show is not kids friendly today, folks. All right. So
I just screwed my button.
So Antone, look, man. Ian is super cool. In fact, Ian and I and anyone who's available can come tomorrow, either at 10 or 10:30. I got my hair cut, so I can show up at 10 tomorrow. We're going to Valentina's barbecue tomorrow at 10 a.m. to get some solid breakfast and solid tacos. Kevin, you in? Kovac, you live way up north, so.
What time? 10?
10.
Oh, I'm down.
All right. See you. There we go. See? Sarah? We know you can't go. I am sorry.
I know.
Yeah, you're too busy making sure we close on time. We're out eating tacos.
That's important, though. That's important.
Can I share my
masterminding? Yes, Kevin.
Can I share my? Okay, you guys know I like to think about things like on multiple layers, right? It's not like, I mean, yes, supply and demand curve is linear, right? But if you look at supply and demand curves over multiple, if you segment it into smaller segments, buyer pools, basically, here's kind of the way I would see this playing out. And if you want to bookmark this, timestamp this in the YouTube video, and then come back to this later on, like remind me in 365
hour and 14 minutes.
I said that 5 years ago.
Yeah. So the buyer demand right now is based on people that can afford the houses that are currently listed in our market. Yeah. So the buyer demand that you see is actually cutting out a complete set of buyers that previously would have been able to buy a home in Austin and now aren't. And so those people aren't even being factored in to the overall buyer demand. So the assumption that people make is that rising interest rates and rising prices here are going to drive buyers out. It won't. So as the builders catch up with the homes that are being built in the price ranges that they're supposed to be in, like a $300,000 home or $275,000 home that was built, instead of it being now $350,000 or $400,000 when they're listing where it's supposed to be, then we can see the people that were originally supposed to afford those. Like, can you imagine? Like, you can't get an FHA buyer through a house right now, but those people are still going to want to buy houses. So as inventory increases, your assumption is that the demand that exists currently stays fixed while the inventory changes, but that's not true. As inventory increases, our buyer demand will increase at all price points for many, many different reasons. So even an increase in interest rates, I don't think my first interest rate loan was like 5% like years ago, and that was low. That was 20 years ago, and that was considered low. My second mortgage was 6.25%. So, I mean, you won't even remember that it was 2.75. You're like, man, I wish I could have bought them, but it doesn't change my mind because I'm still going to buy a house. I just think that these factors are so like non-issues over the next foreseeable future, 4 or 5 or 6 years. I don't see that they'll change anything differently. Our market will even out a little bit, but that's pretty much it.
Ian, you were about to talk or drink coffee. I can't tell.
I think of it like, to align with what Kevin is saying, I think of it like gas prices. If you go back just 2 years, gas prices, people were paying $5 for a tank of gas. And then what happened as the supply and demand shift, people are now accessing EVs. And I think this is just a callback to our last week's discussion, our live, we were talking about alternative sources. So when lumber becomes more difficult, they might start printing homes. There are going to be ways for them to continue building. But again, to Kevin's point, forever, people will buy homes. It does not matter the interest rate. And it does have to adjust based on the pool of buyers, but it will always be that people want to buy homes and sell homes.
Well, and also it has to do with jobs, right? A lot of the influx too is because of all the job creation here. They have to move. They don't have a choice. So as long as, big companies keep moving here and need employees and executives and it's not remote, they need to be here on site, then, we're going to have that buyer pool and it's going to keep it.
In just a short period of time today, I covered probably half of the geographic coverage of Austin. I went downtown. Today, I went downtown. We left downtown at 1:00. I drove Riverside to the airport, to the toll road, by the Tesla factory, around the toll road, down 290 through Manor.
And you drive a big truck, right?
Yeah, I drive.
Okay, sure.
But and then we drove up to the Domain. Then we went up Armour. Then we went to Leander. Then to Georgetown and back to the downtown by 5:00. Like, we are spoiled to live in a city that is this accessible. So what's going to happen? These guys are all talking about doing developments and all this wide open space land. I mean, there's so much room that this city is going to grow. It's going to blow your mind. Like, I think we're going to, right now we're serving only a specific population of people that can really afford to buy here. But when these developers are able to get hold of some of these parcels of land and build something that is still relatively affordable, you're going to have a new set of buyer demand. Like Sarah said, you're going to have people that actually are going to work in this city that can live quite a bit closer. Because right now, people that are working blue collar jobs in and around the city, they either have to rent, and rent prices aren't cheap, but if they want to own, they have to live in who knows how far away, at Lockhart sometimes, or definitely like Kyle and Buda, San Marcos.
Somebody said something about Manor earlier, didn't they?
Manor, Pflugerville, yeah.
Manor.
I think the comment was something about I wouldn't live in Manor. Something.
Yeah, why would you come here to live in Manor? Is what you said. You live in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you're gonna be homeless, I wouldn't be homeless here either. I'd be homeless
I'd be homeless in San Diego. I mean, if I'm gonna be homeless, I'm gonna be homeless in San Diego or
Hawaii.
LA, or at least it's got great.
Cancun. No, maybe not Cancun.
But I mean, that's in Austin, we've now made it legal to camp wherever you want, except for in front of the city hall. So there's that. So all right, Mark, I will not disappoint you. I promise. I am going to get to you.
Can we answer the follow the HEB's question?
Yeah, follow the HEB's question. Sorry. So before we answer any more of these questions, I want to say Dinosaur D, killing it tonight. Mark, killing it tonight. Master Jedi, you must be an assassin. You're definitely an assassin tonight. So thank you. And why not? Well, why yes. So here we go. Follow the HEBs. So this is always a good question on our thing because there's no HEB in Manor. So that's why would you live in Manor, right? Or is there, Ian? Tell them about the HEB opening up.
So it's interesting.
It's like, what HEB has
interesting is HEB owns land in a lot of places. And we've talked about this before too, right? And it seems like they have this land and they're waiting for the timing. They're playing the game just like all these other developers are. Once there's a certain population percentage increase or something, then they're like, you know what, we're going to start developing. So I think to a certain point, watching the HEBs is actually a really good thought. But I almost feel like once you know about them, you're already losing. The area is already, like, once there's an HEB, like Lago. We've talked about Lago a lot, right? There is a lot of opportunity, lower price homes. There's no HEB out there. It's 20 minutes to an HEB.
But is there going to be one?
That's the question. I don't even, they might have land. I don't know of any plans for them to build out there, right? Does anybody else?
Just announced one off 29 in Palmer up in Georgetown, I believe.
Yeah, but that's not Lago,
That's not Lago Vista or Manor. Jeremy, don't disappoint me. Same question. Kyle Hayes, Blackburn developer. So I just became aware of Blackburn developer. Have any of you worked with Blackburn?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I'll have to pull them up here. I guess they've been building, and I called them to find out that inventory a couple weeks back. and they said they've been in Austin for 4 years. Never heard of them.
Mm-mm.
But Mr. Mark, here's the deal: 450 for 2,000 square feet in Kyle is now a great deal.
Yeah.
Because I just put a contract on a property for like a little over that for almost 500. So
How are we even saying that right now?
what?
How are we even saying that right now?
I know
I
for
know.
Kyle, right? 500 in
Yeah.
Kyle.
I sold
Yeah,
a home
To me today, they
4
said
years
the
ago in Kyle for 165.
Yeah.
Someone said that to me today. They said their budget was 250 to 300, and they said, "Well, if I'm gonna have to drive that far, I might as well go to Kyle." I was like, I don't think you have tracked what's been happening with these prices.
And this is why I've said over and over and over and over and over and over again. I will continue to say this: Kyle and Butte are the most underrated small cities near Austin, because now, number one, the 45 extension that goes to Mopac. It used to take me from my house, and I live South Austin, to get to Kyle. It took me 30 minutes to get to like hometown Kyle, what's his neighborhood, or Plum Creek. Now it takes me 20 maybe, because they've opened up. It's 4 lanes all the way down. So boom, there you go. Dinosaur D says Jeremy dropping contacts like he's a real estate agent or something. Damn straight, homie.
Hell yeah. I mean, if this Blackburn is building what they show on their website, I think they could be a good market disruptor for us. I'm glad that somebody else is building something that doesn't look like 99% of these other homes that they're building. It's plans that they picked 10 years ago, you know.
Can you share your screen so we can pull it up?
Heck no. Go to blackburnhomes.com.
Oh, Big Mama. Yes. You want to talk about New Braunfels? Let's do it. I think it's the best up and coming area outside of Austin. In fact, it's already, I wouldn't even say up and coming. It's already here. New Braunfels. If you want to invest in New Braunfels, do it. I highly recommend it. Look, New Braunfels is 45 minutes to Austin. It's close to San Antonio. It's got a lot of great stuff. I got a friend. His name is Rad, RAAD Realtor. Find him on YouTube. He's got a great YouTube channel. Talks about that. In fact, he is going to be on one of my videos, because we're doing a video on, I don't know, New Braunfels, maybe investing in New Braunfels. Big Mama, she called it out last week too. Good for you. I think so. Overall, in general, I think San Marcos, which is south of Kyle, and New Braunfels are 2 areas green as well. I would highly get in those neighborhoods as soon as possible, because I think it's a great.
You got to tell them how to spell green.
It's spelled green. All right. I don't know who added this, but I got it. Kevin, is this you?
I did. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah,
show
that's
us
a Blackburn.
Yeah, show it.
That's I mean, they only have 2 plans, but
It's like a nice farmhouse.
That looks like Bryson.
Yeah.
I mean, would I pay $450 for this house?
Can you show us on the community or the map where they're located? Because I think they're off of is it Kohler's Crossing?
Hello, internet.
Yeah.
You're streaming now?
What's that?
Oh, he's messing with you.
Oh, I'm not. This is this new stupid laptop. I hate it already. I'm taking it back tomorrow. It doesn't really show where it is. It's just a little triangle.
If you go to contact us, it might show the address.
How do you use the internet?
Yeah.
All I know is HTML.
Right.
Well,
Oxford, Mississippi. No, it doesn't show where it is.
We'll have to look it up for Mr. Mark.
If Big
Please
Mama
don't deviate.
Oh.
What did I deviate from? This whole thing is a deviation. Afro Capitalist back. Good to see you again. Thoughts on Juro and Central Texas? Well, we are in Central Texas, but Ian has helped quite a few people. We've actually helped some people in Juro. Yeah. Ian more than I. What's your thoughts on Juro?
Here's the thing. I don't want to offend anybody here, but if you stay out of Sonterra, the tax rate there is really high. Otherwise, the area will grow. It has to grow. It's along 35, and to me, that's the north version of Kyle and Butte, right? As far as what's on the way, Temple and Waco. So you're just north of Georgetown, 10 to 15 minutes, and you're halfway to Temple and almost to Waco at that point. So that ends up being a strong growth potential. I still feel like it's going to grow wide before it's going to go too far north. Yeah, you can still get houses in Gerald for $250 pretty easily.
Aaron, what's your thoughts on Gerald, Aaron?
Honestly, I haven't really made it out to Gerald all that much. But what I will tell you is what I tell a lot of people.
You've driven through it when you go to the Magnolia store with your girl, right?
Yeah, we just usually stop at Denny's or a gas station and then head out. But no, what I will say is that I tell everybody this. I grew up in a town 65 miles northwest of Chicago, and we were still considered a suburb of Chicago. And that's almost the distance between here in San Antonio, and that's way past up north of Waco. It's not far-fetched to believe that eventually the suburbs of Austin, San Antonio, they're going to merge. They're already kind of merging, and then seeing Waco end up merging with the North Austin suburbs. It's just a matter of time before that ends up happening.
Yeah,
I don't want to get.
But Gerald's still a great point.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you were done. Sorry, my bad.
There are a lot of people. I want to talk too about Gerald.
Come on, everybody gets a turn.
Here's what I was going to say. There are a lot of people that say they look up Gerald on the internet and one thing shows up, one thing, and it's this tornado that happened in 1997.
Is it Kevin's mullet?
And Kevin's mullet. That was a tornado, yes. And it's
just
from Google Maps.
So I think that's one of those things that people need to let go. Gerald is growing, and they have some deals that are outside of that community. There was one community for a long time, but now they have some more options. So it's a good opportunity.
Because I don't want to leave out our two wonderful lenders, is 2.8% a good interest rate on a loan? I'm a new buyer and new to this. Well, if you need a good lender, there's two of them on here. I'll drop in their info later on the replay, Mr. Antone. But panel lenders, preferably 2.8. Good? No? Yes?
Fantastic.
Why?
So it depends on what type of loan we're looking at. So if we're looking at a 30-year and it's a primary, then yeah, that sounds great. Take it. If we're talking about a 20 or 15-year, then I might shop around. But I think that's an excellent rate right now where the market is for a 30-year fixed.
I love your answer. I might shop around. It's good.
I might shop around.
I'm going to think about shopping around if I were you.
Yeah.
I want to be honest.
I think that's why Jeremy's channel is blowing up, because we try to stay that way. He stays that way.
I mean, Kevin's mullet is out there, but
it's still honest. In fact, it's probably the most honest thing.
Aaron, you said 2.8 is a good rate. Do you agree with that, or do you agree with Sarah?
Yeah, I agree 100% with Sarah. But when I say it's fantastic, I mean in the grand scheme of things, historic interest rates for mortgages, 2.8, that's about as cheap as money gets historically, right? But yeah, today, based on your term, what kind of property you're trying to buy, it's a great rate. But if it's a shorter term, might want to look at see what other options you got.
All right. So please keep your lender questions coming. I'd appreciate that. That way, Aaron doesn't fall asleep. He was late because he's taking a nap. So we're gonna make sure. I'm just kidding. I love so just so you know, I work with both of these people a lot, because I love them. Number one, they're very honest with my clients. They've given us honest answers here. So these are two people that I trust a lot. So, yeah, Kevin's mullet. All right, I'm just kidding, man. I love you. I have a condo downtown Austin. I want to invest downtown on the I-35 corridor. Recommendations for residential. What about investing in lots? That's a fantastic question. I-35 corridor, I am highly going to recommend New Braunfels. Cat's out of the bag. Gentlemen and lady, anyone jump in, please. No, dead radio is not good radio.
I wanted to give Kevin and Ian a chance, but I agree. I-35 is a great place, especially because you can reach everything.
I shared my map. Can you share my map?
I don't want to share your map. Come on,
please?
Man. All right, there you go.
This is relevant. That's the only reason I say that. So check this out. Kyle,
Look at his tabs. Look at his tabs.
Don't worry about the tab. Kyle,
What's Palazzio's?
Oh, jeez.
Kyle down south, Gerald up north. Same distance from the city. Kyle and Gerald. Now, the other thing, Liberty Hill is blowing up.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's right, though. To the city, what part is he talking about? Round Rock? Gerald?
Too
Round
big
Rock,
MSA.
maybe.
The part that matters, I'm talking about the domain area where Apple and Brushy Creek and all that stuff.
Okay. Well, all right.
Well, because somebody said earlier, Apple was 70%, right?
Yeah.
I would
rather live in Liberty Hill than Gerald, but go ahead.
Well, and that's the thing. So Liberty Hill is, I would say 7 minutes less of a drive if you're going from the same place, right, from here. Because 35, the speed limit is what, 75 most of the way? So
it's whatever your Tesla lets you drive.
yeah, I got a ticket. That's a whole story for another day. In Georgetown.
In the Tesla?
Yeah, I know, right? I did.
Okay, we had a whole conversation about that. All right, go ahead. Continue.
So I think I love what Sarah said as far as along I-35, because this will take you, I looked it up. It'll go from Mexico to like Missouri or Montana or one of those places. Yeah, there you go. Somewhere really far north. So there is a lot of industry. As they build, they're going to continue building up and down here nonstop. And then if you look how close Temple is. That's another growing city, fast-growing city. So Gerald's, it's in a good spot to grow. But just like Kyle and San Marcos, those are both very solid. So if you're looking to stay north and you're trying to get that lower price point, Gerald is very solid. If you're going to go south for whatever reason, I don't know why you do. No, I'm just kidding. Then Kyle and Butte are very, very solid. But it's almost an equal distance. That's the important point.
So, sorry, lenders. Antone's got a lender. Sorry. But he's closing in Houston. So, Houston, it's humid.
Yeah. So, can we talk about that too? So, I drove to Houston Sunday to Katy. Where's Katy? It's like right here, right?
East side, yeah.
It's right here.
West side.
It took me 2 hours and 23 minutes.
Yeah.
It takes forever.
Well, that's not really that bad. Think about it.
Houston, yeah.
So I was also in Chicago, and it would take me an hour to get.
We should draw a line from College Station, just kind of at an angle 45 down, and cut the rest of Texas out. Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's your map. It's your map. I'm just saying what you should do with it.
Yeah.
Is it harder for out-of-staters to get loans with local lenders? Boom. Ian, your screen's out, man. We're past this. This is a great question. This is a great question. Everyone, listen to the answers of this. This is a great question. Did I say that? Sarah.
No, we do not discriminate. All money is created equal. We are happy to help anyone and everyone. And I actually, ironically, I get this question when I have people that are non-permanent residents and permanent residents as well, thinking if they get treated differently, different rates than U.S. citizens. And the answer to that is no as well. So we are happy to work with anyone and everyone. Do you agree, Aaron?
Absolutely. And same goes for visa holders or DACA recipients.
So the question is it harder though for out-of-staters? Like what do they need to have in order to get a loan in Texas? Right? Do they have to live here or be moving here in order to get a loan?
So I would say the thing that comes to mind the most is their ability to work here compared to where they're working, from whatever state they're working in. Whether they have the ability to work remotely, if they're changing jobs and working with an employer locally, or internal transfer with their employer. I think the thing that I see come up the most is with self-employed borrowers. people who may not have an e-commerce or a business that can just be picked up, something that they can do if they're on the beach in Mexico or, on vacation somewhere across the country. If it's a physical business that they have to uproot from where they're coming from and then reroute in Austin, that's one of those situations where it can be more difficult for them to relocate and buy immediately. How about you, Sarah?
No, I completely agree. So I think that the benefit with the situation we've had since the pandemic is a lot of people are remote. So a lot of the people relocating and the out-of-staters that I've worked with have been remote, and it doesn't affect their employment at all. But if you're moving here, and I mentioned this last time too, you can't be remote, you need to have at least an offer letter and a job here. And it needs to be salaried and not hourly without a guaranteed minimum amount of hours. And again, I completely agree with Aaron. Self-employment, if it's something that you can't do remote, online, and it is dependent on where you live and you're uprooting that, we need to see typically a 1 to 2 year history here in Austin or Texas to show that it will not impact your income.
Awesome.
Well said.
Well said. I agree. Liberty Hill over Gerald. Sorry, Ian.
I mean, they're different price points, but right, like very different.
Yeah. I mean, Gerald.
When people say Liberty Hill, they're pretty much saying Santa Rita Ranch, right? And you cannot get a house in there. First, you can't get a house there, but if you did, it's going to be north of 500 right now, 450 right now. So, in Gerald, you can get one for 250. It's a little different. That doesn't, that's not to say one's better or worse.
So there was a question in here. Sorry, we're jumping around so much. I love all of the questions, and I'm trying. Trust me, if I could get to every Dinosaur D comment, I would, or Master Jedi comment, I would. And Mark, I mean, I don't know those coordinates. We'll have to look them up, but thank you. I would get to it. But Jennifer wrote this comment earlier, and I think this is a great question. I definitely want to hear what Aaron has to say about it. City of Austin is buying hotels near Austin to house people who are experiencing homelessness. Do you think it will affect the sale price in that neighborhood?
Radio silent.
I didn't know. I didn't know that was a thing, to be honest. So that's news to me.
Well, they bought one in Williamson County. They bought a couple. I thought they bought one at least off of I-35.
Huh. I mean, I'll ask you this question. I mean, I drove around today too, and there's tent cities everywhere in this town, and I honestly don't know that it's affected any of the home sales around where people are camping in the median. So I can't imagine having them in a hotel is actually, that's better than them putting up entire cities in the median or under a bridge. So and hopefully that gets addressed generally. I don't say it's going to be an issue though long term, honestly. There's apartment complexes and everything all over the city.
Yeah, I mean, if it's being isolated to one specific area, I can't see that affecting.
Well, here's the thing, Sarah. I know you want to talk. I'm gonna let you get to it. They put in community first, and everybody was worried the neighborhoods around community first. Now, community first is much different, right? Mobile Loaves and Fishes, but they put in community first, which is tiny homes for the homeless, and they do a very good job there. And the neighborhood next to it was very worried that they were going to have issues, and they have not, because they manage. Community first does a very good job of what they do. Sarah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was very curious about this. So I'm very ghostly right now, but I was just looking this up real quick. And so far they've approved to buy one motel to help with homelessness in North Austin. And it's the Candlewood Suites near US 183 and the 45 toll road. But I mean, I was just very interested to find out more. I mean, I know that going downtown, the homelessness has increased a lot from when I used to live downtown. And I actually was talking to a client the other day that had mentioned it and said they watched YouTube videos about Austin homelessness, and that everyone said, "Oh no, they're friendly, like they're part of Austin, and they're really good homeless people," or something. And I'm curious to see what this video is. But I will say this, like when 20 years ago, or 10 to 15 years ago, like we had Leslie. Do you guys remember Leslie? No one? Am I the only? Oh my goodness. Okay.
Leslie's
Oh yeah, I remember the
person
with the
who would
shorts,
ride a
right? The Daisy
bike
Dukes.
in their Daisy Dukes. Yeah.
He was like our homeless, like he ran for mayor.
Yeah.
Everyone knew him. He was a buddy. People saw concerts. Like Leslie was, our kind of our mascot. He was awesome mascot until he passed
I
away.
don't know if that's the right word.
Did he pass away? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. And it was a big deal for us Austinites. But it's not like that anymore. It's different. It's not, the homelessness is different. And maybe this will be a good way to kind of help free up downtown a little bit so it's safer and more people can buy downtown. I don't know. What are y'all thoughts?
Kevin, would you buy near Tent City?
Sure, why not? I don't have a problem with it.
What's a tent city? Like Austin?
You really underestimate what I am far less concerned about a lot of things I think other people make a big deal out of, which for no reason. I'll live in places like people like, I won't live next to a railroad track. I grew up next to a railroad track. It wasn't that bad. Like a train comes through every once in a while.
And you still own trailer parks, right?
I do. I still own one trailer park. I mean, listen, there's a need for home. And can you even call somebody homeless if they're living in a hotel? Like, what, they need a new name for that person. They're a person. They have a home now. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not trying to sound like holier than thou. I really think that there's factors at play here that if it comes down to it, and it's a home in a neighborhood that you want to be in, and there's only one home that's available and it's affordable, I think you're going to care less that it's around some of these things that maybe you would care about before. But the tents are temporary. I think it's going to flush itself out in the next couple of years. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's push to overturn the camping ban. Is that what it is? Yeah, camping ban. So, I mean, there's push for that. So we'll see what happens. I mean, a lot of tax dollars are about to come into Austin this year. It's going to be insane. So, we'll see.
Did I see that they wanted to rename something Mayor Adler public restroom? Did you see that?
Say public restroom?
Yeah, they want somebody.
Adler is a public restroom, sure.
No, I just saw this on the news or something that somebody was petitioning, or they were saying like it was legit. They wanted to rename a stretch of highway the Mayor Adler public restroom, and it was completely legit.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, I thought they were naming a public restroom Mayor Adler.
No, a stretch of highway.
Or a restroom.
I'm not trying to get off topic of interest rates here. Did you haven't shown people Elon's new home yet, have you?
Oh, I haven't. I'll let you. Do you have it?
Yeah. You want me to show it?
Yeah.
This is completely speculative, by the way. You can put the thumbnail in this video, you going like this, Elon's new house.
Okay, yeah. Okay, throw it up there and I'll bring it on.
Oh, hold on.
How's Manor? So while you're doing that, how's Manor? It's never really discussed. And I would have to disagree and say we talk about Manor quite a bit. We've talked about too much. Yeah. So Manor, we've talked about a lot. That's why I think we don't talk about it anymore. But yeah, if you're going to buy in Manor, there's a few areas that are fantastic for tax rate reasons. For the most part, tax rates are very high there. So that's the only thing to be careful of. We are going to get to Elon Musk's new home after this question. For out-of-staters, is it currently don't have a job offer, but can they get for out-of-staters, if they currently don't have a job offer, can they get FHA loan if it is their first house, considering they are renting in their state, in a nearby state? Aaron, answer that question, I guess.
It's more about them having a job here, and the renting is, that it's not really in the picture. I mean, they would have to have a job here in Austin and show the ability to be here and working, unless they can be working remote. Whether it be FHA, conventional, or any other type of loan. They got to be able to prove that they're working, number one, and that they can work from either Austin or remote.
I know the agent that sold that house. I know which house it is. He was posting on his Instagram today. Son of a monkey.
It's not. I don't know that that's true, but I think
if that's it. That's pretty cool. I know the agent who sold that house. Then I know the agent who was working with him. All right. So wait, I have one more question. I'm not going to let Sarah answer this question, but I'm going to let her ask this one. Sarah, what are the requirements for someone who's self-employed, is a freelancer in terms of applying and being approved for long, someone that works online in tech?
So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, so if you're self-employed as a freelancer and you're working online, so you're able to work remote, that's what I'm assuming from what you're saying, then you shouldn't have any problems. The main thing is we want to make sure that you have been employed and have submitted your tax returns as someone that's a freelancer or self-employed for at least 1 to 2 years. The rule of thumb, we like to see 2. If you were working in that same tech industry prior to becoming a freelancer and you've done that for at least a year, then sometimes we can get an exception for that. And then we have a couple different loan options for self-employed borrowers. One's based off tax returns, one's based off bank statements. So, but yeah, I mean, that shouldn't be a problem if everything's remote and online. Just make sure that it's not brand new and you just started this year, then you will need to have to wait until we at least have 1 to 2 tax returns from you.
I've got a question for Sarah and Aaron.
Yeah.
Are you guys even processing any FHA loans right now?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
It's a great question. Where and how?
I closed one to this morning, actually, but caveat, it was in Temple. And that was the one where they were able to negotiate seller paid closing costs.
So Temple, there you go.
Yeah, so the ones FHA loans I've been doing have been in Houston, San Antonio, or Temple. I haven't done any recent ones in Austin unless it was a new construction that went under contract like 6 to 8 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Aaron, what about you, my friend?
Closed on a FHA for down payment assistance in January. That was out in Manor. It was a resale.
You did a DPA? They still have those?
Yeah.
I mean, I know they still have those, but people are accepting those. Like sellers aren't. Oh, that's not 800 over list price. I'm not going to take it.
Yeah, it was out in Manor.
Out in Manor. Manor's a hell of a lot closer. Okay, that's good. Manor's a hell of a lot closer to in Austin than Georgetown or Leander is. So don't say out in Manor. For you, it's out in Manor because you're in Round Rock. But.
I think
I don't know. I only ever go to Manor to golf. So
I think if you look at the distance, like when you map it, it's like the drive time. It's not any closer.
Really?
You can get from Georgetown to downtown Austin in the same amount of time from Manor to downtown Austin.
I guess it just feels more remote because it hasn't grown to quite the size of, say, Georgetown or Leander.
Because of that HTTP that's not there.
The HTTP that's not there. Hold on a second. So, okay, show the Elon house, and I'm going to show you the agent that sold it. He's on my Instagram. Show him.
Yeah. First of all, we don't know that this is Elon's house, but Austin's most expensive home ever sold to an unknown buyer. I mean, if it's not Jesus Musk, then who is it? Like, who? It wasn't Joe Rogan. This makes Joe Rogan's $15 million house look like a tent city.
Yeah.
9 acres, listed for $38.9 million, but they don't know what it was sold as. But look at this place. I mean,
yeah, but it could also be like Larry Ellison.
That's not the house. Where's the pictures of the house?
So
they posted one picture.
You just have to see 9 acres.
Oh, Lord.
What's the address? I could probably
I saw it on Instagram too.
England Volkers. So here you go. Carolyn. Okay, so Carolyn was the listing agent, I believe. So the buyer's agent, I'm gonna pull on my screen. Hold on, because I saw this on Instagram today. It was in his Instagram stories, but then I saw his Instagram stories already passed. But here's my friend Cord Shiflett. There he is in front of that house right there.
Yep.
Yeah. So he must have represented Elon Musk. Cord's been, so if anybody knows anything about Cord, he is an outspoken guy who says a lot of outspoken things in Austin. I tend to like him a lot, but he helps some very, very high. I have a feeling he helped Joe Rogan.
The rumor already was that he was working with Elon, by the way.
That Ford was?
Yeah, the rumor was that he
okay.
was already helping him anyway. I thought it was, what's his face? Matt sells Austin, Compass agent.
Oh, no, I don't think it was him. I would have never thought it was him because he's a big Tesla guy.
The president of the Tesla club.
Tesla Club,
Yeah.
I'm
Ian
part of
knows the president of the Tesla club because he's got a Tesla.
Well, he has every Tesla.
Don't even say it.
No, seriously, like we've talked about it.
Matt Holmes is his name.
Matt Holmes, He has
Yeah.
every Tesla.
No shout out.
Ian's so true. I don't know what I was talking about. So, man, we are almost at 2 hours. So the after show is about to start. Does anybody want to ask about Terra Vista? I have some really great things to say. Treviso. I got some great things to talk about Treviso. Some news in the Treviso. What kind of whiskey? Oh, that's a great question. So this is bourbon, but I just found this and it is the smoothest. So Noble Oak, if you want to go ahead and just send me a free, send me a few bottles or whatever. There you go. Possibly 200 people and they'll follow up. We're going to buy this now. Promo code Jeremy on their website. Try it. See if it works.
Try it, see what happens.
Yeah.
I'll make that pay request. They're gonna say promo code Jeremy. Who's trying?
Who the heck is this Jeremy guy? I bet Jeremy's sibling above. I would, you know what? Typically I would, but they didn't have it at the old Costco. I buy it. So if you're not familiar with Texas, Costco does not have a liquor store in Costco here. You can't buy liquor in Costco. So you actually have to go to the little outsourced because you can't sell liquor inside a store. One of those crazy laws that Texas has. And the other thing is you can't buy any liquor at all. Liquor stores are closed on Sundays and you can't buy any alcohol on Sunday till noon. So if you're really drunk at 8 p.m. and the liquor store's closed at 9, Ian's had this problem. He PM'd me like my car's not driving fast enough. Driving me there fast enough. If you don't buy your liquor for the next day and it's like 8 p.m., there's a lot of accidents at 8 p.m. in Texas because people are trying to drive the liquor store to buy their liquor before the store closes. So, yeah.
When I was in Little Rock, people are going to cringe when I say this, but it's a moist state.
It is.
Do you know what that means in regards to liquor stores?
No clue. It just sounded awesome.
A dry county or dry state means that you can't sell alcohol, right?
Oh.
And then wet means that you can, and moist means that it's mixed. So there were in Little Rock, I actually think it was that there were no liquor stores there. So people were buying all the liquor stores that were around the area were like right at the county border. And then if you did go to a place that sold alcohol in some of the dry or the moist counties, you had to become a member of the club. So they signed you up for a club membership just to serve you alcohol at like a bar.
So in tech, like when I was in college, I had friends that went to school in Lubbock, at Texas Tech, and that was dry. I think they changed it eventually, but everyone would go to the Strip, and it was like this lit up neon sign. It looked like Vegas, and it's like right outside the line, I guess that boundary mark. And so that's
the county line.
Get alcohol.
Was it the county line? Is that where? Because there's a restaurant called County Line.
Jeremy's alcohol hour.
Yeah, we're about to hit the time when I start drinking, which is 9 o'clock. So
I don't have anything, man.
So all right, Easton Park. So all right. So okay, let's go back. There's a lot of great comments. I'm going to try to get through some of these comments.
Speed round.
I appreciate you all staying. Aaron, I appreciate you for being on for 2 hours when you were late. Sarah, thank you for joining. I realize if either of you need to jump off, that's fine. But this is the time right now. If you have that burning lender question, drop that burning lender question in. Otherwise, we're going to go speed round, and we're going to talk about why you shouldn't buy in Treviso. No. Is that right? Terra Vista. Whatever. That one place. What are we talking about? I can't remember the place. Okay, so here we go. Easton Park. Go fast. Aaron. Oh, wait. No. Sorry, Kevin. Go fast.
Love it. Love it. But high tax rate.
Ian.
High tax rate, pretty high cost of entry. Buried in.
If you want to get in there now, it's crossing 700
relative to what they offer too.
Yes, and so that's high. So we're going to start bashing. So what?
I
What'd
said, but
you say?
it's pretty and cool. Like, I mean, it would be a great place to live, I think. But at the same time, you're paying for it.
Yes.
That wouldn't be my first choice if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
It would not be your first choice?
No, I would choose.
Yeah, I agree.
I would exhaust a lot of other options before I would land on that.
Yep, I agree. This is of Austin, which is close by. It's a newer community. I'd rather go there. All right, there we go. Parkside. Oh, wait, we moved. Parkside. Got clients under contract there. Sarah, you know them. Parkside by the lake, Georgetown. Do it. Go for it. Have you ever heard of Vizcaya neighborhood?
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, everyone's heard of this guy. That is that's the Treviso of Round Rock right now.
Treviso.
Oh,
Yeah,
they also have a 55 up section too.
They do,
Yeah,
but
they do.
lots of crazy prices. And the reason why is because they advertise on billboards. Our tax rate is 1.8. People seriously, it's like blue bonnets. You'd think they're pulling over, taking pictures of the sign. They don't believe it.
That's so funny.
Oh, I love you guys. You're so great. Sorry, Ian. I mean, the comments are just going. So, yeah, Vizcaya is boring, but low tax rate. It's crazy. The backside of Vizcaya actually backs up to West Haven and Fairhaven, which I just said Fairhaven's way out there. A great neighborhood to buy in because you can buy a home under $300K. But yeah, shameless plug. Who's promoting your club?
Well, it's listed under 300K, but it's a bid.
Oh, that's very true. Let's talk about that. So DR Horton is the builder out there. DR Horton also has Bar W Ranch, and what was the other one they have out in Leander? Bar W, and then
there's one up in Liberty Hill on 29. That just Oaks at San Gabriel, right?
No, they're in Rancho right now. Did you know that?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. DR Horton's in Rancho.
No, another one. There's another one up there.
So here's what DR Horton's doing. So we have clients that are writing offers on their property. So they release like 6 lots or 8 lots, whatever it is, and they're all open to bid. So you have to basically write an offer like it was on the resale market, even though it's an inventory home.
Larkspur.
Right? And they're not even built yet, right? So like they basically spec them out. Like, okay, here's the tile. Here's everything we're going to put in it. Okay, here's the base price that we're going to sell it at. Write an offer. And so we had a client actually write an offer for 45 grand over and did not get it for an inventory home.
It's nuts.
Yeah. So
better than a lottery.
It is better than a lottery. It's less risky.
Yeah.
Let me take a step back.
Yeah. So not sure if it's a lender question, but I know you said, Jeremy, that you do not escrow. What are the pros and cons of that? God, some great questions.
I think it's preference.
Questions.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
so
totally preference, whether they want the mortgage payment to collect their taxes and insurance for them, or if they want to pay it themselves at the end of the year.
Yeah, I totally agree with Aaron. It's preference. And I usually see that it's based on how the client is paid. If you have make a lot of bonus, commission, or self-employed, I typically see those folks don't escrow because usually that money comes in at the end of the year, or they save up, they want to pay it then, and they want to have more cash flow from month to month. At my folks that are salaried or, that make certain amount, that are, for 40 hours a week, they generally like to escrow so that they're good to go and they don't have to worry about having a big payment around the holidays.
Yes. The reason why I don't escrow is I spend my money better than my escrow spends my money. That's it. I mean, I would rather invest that in stocks. And if I lose it, I'll sell the property. But I'd rather invest it in something than sit in an escrow and not collect any money, because you could put that in a high yield account, that 10 grand in a high yield account. So most properties, let's just say most properties would be $10,000 in property taxes. I would rather just take 10 grand, put it in a high yield account, rent out the property, because we have rentals that we do that on, even our own personal property. And then at the end of the year, put in a high yield account, just put the money there. And then I've made money on it. Well, if I put it in an escrow, I make no money on it. So that's why I don't do it. Here's a fantastic question. And I think, you know what, I think this is a good question even for lenders, because lenders are going to face this too, because you have to tell people what they're approved for based on property taxes. So imagine in 6 months when the new property valuations come out and properties are now $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 more in property taxes. That adds $400 of the payment. So how will property taxes be kept in check so people can stay? So people here can stay. Anyone have a remote answer for that?
Re-elect new officials.
Yeah, I think that's going to be very interesting. And without getting too deep into the word politics as a construct, just think there is a huge shift of influx of people that are part of the voting system here, and that is going to be a determining factor. Period.
Yeah,
that's not an answer. There's no answer there. It just means that that stuff is shifting.
Well, here's the deal. So before I start, Kevin, I'll let you jump in. We've had a dry time without you here.
You even got the color changing lights. Look at
Am I supposed to say something?
Yeah. How are we going to keep property taxes in check, Kevin?
I'm turning to pink. I don't think that our city or our county is interested in changing the property taxes. To be honest with you, why would they? They don't have any interest in doing that. Their city's growing without it. Would you, if you owned a company, and the city is a company, right? They're a business like anything else. If you owned a company, and I promise you, because I worked for a lot of big companies, if you do something for them, it's never enough. So the city's not going to be like that and like, well, what could we offer our people to make them stay? They're going to stay regardless. So we're just going to keep raising the taxes. And honestly, the rates rates have never changed much anywhere, no matter where you've ever lived. And the property values are driven by demand too. So that's not a random thing either. There's no good answer to that. If you want to continue to live in Austin, then it's going to be considered a cost of living. So if you don't want to pay the property taxes, then I'll help you sell your house, but I can't help you buy another.
We don't have a state income tax, so it's offset with property taxes, and that's what people have to realize.
Aaron's right, because that's actually a huge factor. And what that does is it actually attracts more people to Texas that care more about saving way more on their higher income bills.
Texas, not Austin.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's in Texas, maybe not Austin.
Well, I mean, but not paying state income tax attracts people that make a lot more money, right? So they're going to be paying more for these houses. It's just going to happen. I just think it's going to happen.
Well, and the question was, how do you keep it in check? Not just how do you lower them, right?
Right.
So, I mean, you can fight. So
I think we will see this year. So here's what I think. I think so many new residents and so many, residents that have been here, May, June, when these property taxes come out, and I've prefaced and I've told people in my neighborhood, be prepared for a $2,000 increase in your property taxes, and they think I'm crazy. Prop A is going to add easily in my neighborhood. Easily is going to add $700 in property taxes. And on top of that, they're going to say, well, now my house, a $500,000 house is now worth $750, $800. So now you're paying these new property taxes. So I'm telling people in my neighborhood, be very prepared that this is going to happen. And I think that you'll see by July, a lot of people upset that their property taxes are going up so high, and there will be a push to have some legislation to help in Austin. I guarantee that will happen. So are property taxes adjusted yearly? The answer is yes. Your tax rate stays the same. It may come down depending on the neighborhood you're in. If you have a PID or a MUD and it comes off. So PID's like a tax you pay for development tax, kind of like a Melrose tax. That will come off. The thing is, every year, so like my house, if they say it's $500,000 this year, but next year they say it's worth $600, they're going to try to raise my taxes arbitrarily to that $600 price point. And they do that every single year. You have two options. Number one, if you're buying a home as your primary home, you can homestead it, which caps that at 10%. They will still try to raise it higher than that. You will still have to do the second thing, which is protest your taxes. So you will protest your taxes yearly. I usually use 5 Stone Tax. I have tried like mad to get them to be a sponsor on my channel, and they will not respond to me. So screw 5 Stone Tax. You're out of here. You're out. Screw 5. And they changed their rates. So 5 Stone Tax, you're dead to me. So Texas Pro Tax, hit me up, dog, because we are going to get at this thing, and I'm going to help you get some more business. Friends, Jeremy AF and friends, go ahead. Let's hear it. I don't know what we're talking about, but go ahead. Just say something.
Taxes.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, I would also like to say in the state of Texas, if you're a 100% disabled vet, you don't have to pay taxes. So if
So
you
just be a disabled vet.
What?
So just go be a disabled vet.
Yeah, you know.
Well,
It's 100%. So be careful. It's 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can, because if you're 50%, you can still get a reduction. Depending on your level, you can still get a reduction, but it's not 100%.
Or go buy
Yes,
a piece of land that's ag and exempt and put your tent on that land.
You
But
can.
by the way, we never talked about that earlier. Somebody asked that question about
What was
land,
the question?
investing in land on that I-35 corridor.
Yeah, it's so far gone now. Who even knows? I don't even know if I can find it.
He's probably gone now.
Yeah, they probably left. It wasn't Kevin. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Or Rob Trex. Kevin with the dance party lighting.
I like what Rob said about Bastrop. Did you see that?
I did see that. He said
That was
that
a good-
Bastrop
that
is
was a
very
good-
nice. The downtown. I filmed. Sorry, I'm talking too much, folks. But I actually filmed HGTV in Bastrop. Sorry, shameless plug. I was in HGTV. Kyle, what's up, man? We're gonna see you next. He's the one we're talking about in Kyle. Kyle. There you go. Property taxes. Sorry. Bastrop. There we go. Bastrop, a charming little hamlet east of Austin. Rob Trex, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to have my friends at Bastrop County reach out to you, and you can write all their promo plugs from now on and all their.
That's really good. That was a good comment.
This guy's been reading Shakespeare, Hamlet, Renaissance.
Yeah. There's a
Well,
theme.
I like the year drop too. I think he's right.
And I know I'm very sure that Shakespeare wrote through THRU.
Yeah.
Imagine.
I like this question. 1.94 tax rate, high or the low side? You
That's
are on the low side,
No.
girl. It's that.
City of Austin.
If you found a house for 1.94 tax rate, jump on that and hold on tight, because that is a gold mine right there.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. Whisper Valley is 1.94.
No. There's a
No.
They don't tell you about that on the website. Sorry. It's a low tax rate, and then they're like, but mud, 1%.
Yeah.
I hate when they do that. It's so
I
miserable.
know. And that's the thing, people. I'm going back to hating on Zillow and Realtor. They don't tell you this stuff. So you have to call your Realtor, people.
Wood Creek and Wimberley is 1.77.
Well, this is a great
Wimberley.
Wimberley, yeah. Refi your home with the new prices and pay the taxes. The thing is, if you already got a home at 2.75% interest rate, where are you gonna refi at? How do you refi? There's no 1.75% refi. So that's where people are gonna be in trouble this year.
He's about
You
to
know,
buying
one
points
solution-
or something. What are you saying?
If anybody on the stream wants to help come develop a mobile home community here, I'll help you out with that, because
I do.
go over very well here.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm not
Let's
kidding.
do it. I'm not either.
All right.
There's
I
a
actually-
piece of land in Lockhart I want to get.
Let's go for it, because I know a developer that'll help us.
Let's go. Let's do it right now.
I got a
24
developer.
acres ready.
I actually met a developer the other day who was awesome. Oh, Sarah, just talk over me, Sarah. Don't mind me. Go ahead. Your turn.
No.
Go ahead, Sarah. Go ahead.
No, we were doing that to you. You have the
Go
floor.
ahead.
So it's public, Dinosaur D, to answer the question.
You gotta just go to.
You can just go to the county appraisal district and you can type in literally anybody's address and go see what their tax rate
Yeah.
is.
If you're in Hayes, go to Hayes CAD, Travis CAD. I don't know Williams County is Will CAD.
But that's work.
Okay.
Sorry, Sarah, we cut you off. You had a point to make.
Oh, did I? No. I was just saying if you really want to go in for the manufactured home park, I actually have helped a couple people with those.
Are we doing a deal here? Are we doing a deal?
Yeah.
Can we name it? What's the name of your channel? Jeremy Knight, best realtor in Austin, mobile home community.
Your favorite Austin realtor is what he
Your
calls
favorite
it.
Austin realtor LLC.
Mobile home extraordinaire.
We're changing the name of the channel to Jeremy Knight AF for Jeremy Knight and Friends.
JAF, yeah, JK.
Well, my middle name's JA, so JAKAF.
Yeah, but JK is like a thing, right? And AF is a thing.
I decided I'm going to name my YouTube channel Kevin Knight, your favoriter Austin. You're more favoriter.
Hey, I'm still here. I was asking about investing in lots or even commercial. Put a little warehouse and a lot of good luck.
Unless it can cash flow. If you can't cash flow dirt, then don't. You need to be cash flowing or another way to build equity besides just sitting on it. So.
What about Kyle, Buda, San Marcos? Sarah, this is for you. Kyle, Buda, or San Marcos?
What about Kyle Buda, San Marcos?
If you were to choose
Which one? Pick one.
Oh, I mean, honestly, they're all great. I mean, do you want to float the river? Do you want a lot of things for families? I mean, they're really great areas. I like all three of them. And if you can find a house and it fits your price point in any of those, and you want to be south, I would take any of them. They're all great.
I think
that name sounds like a kid that left Kentucky to become an international soccer star. Kyle Buda San Marcos.
Aaron, we know you live north, so northy, which would you pick?
Honestly, I really like Georgetown or Leander.
I would say Georgetown. The question is Kyle, Buda, or San Marcos. Get the
I'm with him on Georgetown.
Man,
yeah. He's gone. We took him off. Look, he doesn't need to be on the stream anymore. I'm just Kyle, Buda, or San Marcos. Those are your choices.
To live, I'm going to say Buda, and for an investment property, I'm going to say San Marcos because of the college there.
Got it. Mr. Kevin Mulletman, JKAF, jack off.
JKAF. There's the A in there though.
I mean, I'm gonna have to go Kyle. If you've been to Kyle lately, actually like what the city of Kyle is embracing the growth right now.
100%
and I think that they got a really neat development area there, probably better than any of those areas. They don't have an In-N-Out burger yet, like San Marcos does, but
yeah.
And that's where. What is that? 15 or whatever, where you take the exit there to go the back way to Wimberley, or not Wimberley. You know what I mean? The back way to go to Austin.
1626 will take you to get you there.
But before there, when you take the exit at Kyle or whatever it is, that area to get to 1626, that whole growth area, I think is being very responsibly developed. So if I was going to do it, I'd choose Kyle in that area, Plum Creek area.
Is that over where, not Bass Pro, but the other one, the big one?
That's
Cabela's.
Cabela's is in Buda. But here's the thing. So I've been on the Buda Chamber of Commerce. I've been a part of them. The Kyle Chamber of Commerce does a lot. So I think Buda is well known. But if you were going to look at all three of these, I'll break them down for you. Kyle, definitely a great place to invest. I think for long term, it's going to see a lot of growth. Buda will see a lot of growth as well, but I think Kyle's doing a lot to bring in big corporations to bring some of these plants there, right? San Marcos, Ian nailed it when he said the universities there. Somebody said that. Aaron, we led you back on the stream. Oh crap!
Yeah, that's right.
I'm back, baby. I think San Marcos would be a great place to invest. The next best place would be New Braunfels. Okay. Moving on.
New Brownsville.
Yeah, New Brownsville.
How many people do you know call it that?
Yeah, a lot. The thing about San Marcos though is they have a really cool downtown area. Like if you want to go just off of downtown area, San Marcos beats wins all three.
And they got shopping.
And like Sarah said, and you have the river, and you have the premium outlets. You have a lot, or prime, one of those, but you have a lot of things.
Aaron is underrated like Bastrop. I agree. I like Bastrop. Ian, Ian and Kevin, we talked about Bastrop on the last stream.
Yeah,
a lot.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with Bastrop. It's just that there's not a real easy way. I mean, 71 is a straight shot, but if you've driven on 71, it's not exactly, smooth sailing. I mean, it's just not an efficient way to get to Austin. There's other places. If you're going to stay in Bastrop, there's not a ton of places to work in Bastrop either. So I think it's growing a lot, but for different reasons.
I would. Is satellite internet coming to Bastrop? Because right now.
Yeah, and what's it called? What's Elon's?
Well, Starlink. Yeah, like once that's up in the air, I don't know. Bastrop has a lot of trees too, but once that's up in the air, then you should be in good shape in all of these places. I think calling back to Kevin's point 9 podcasts ago, you cannot go wrong if you have everything that you need in this area.
Sarah's going to say something. I want to say something after she's done too.
Oh, I was just saying, I actually have one of my team members that lives in Bastrop, and I tried to send her something via Amazon, and they couldn't even get to her. So once Amazon can get to everyone in Bastrop, then it's a great place to be.
I think
Amazon is more important than HEB being there.
They have an HEB though.
There it is.
They have an HEB.
You know what I'm actually disappointed with on a complete other note?
Lucky's too. Sorry.
Prime Now. Like, did you not abuse Prime Now? Like, they don't even offer that anymore except for groceries. Do you guys not remember that? I ordered a PlayStation 4 and it was delivered to my house within 1 hour. They used to do that stuff all the time on regular Amazon stuff. They only do that with groceries now. I think Bastrop is popular for other reasons, though. I don't think it's other. I think what you're seeing there is just a general increase in the housing market. I don't necessarily think it's a lot of people that are in Austin. I think people are actually, in some cases, retiring there or, right sizing to Bastrop, and having a kind of a chill lifestyle.
I think it's Eagle Ridge or Eagle Ranch. I forget the name of it, but we've had clients, Eagle Ridge, just purchasing there. So if you can afford like the 500 to 600 range, acre lots, beautiful homes. You're not too far out to Bastrop. In fact, when you're there, you're close enough to go enjoy all the Bastrop stuff. You're close to Buc-ee's. There's a really cool gun shop right there too, if that's your thing. So, and there's a church somewhere over there too. So that's your thing too. So yeah,
That's a church.
There's plenty of churches over there. There's a really cool place to grab burgers at. Forgive me, I'll never remember the name of it because I was only there once. But let's roll. Aaron, I'm sorry you're so sleepy, man. If you need to take a little nap and come back, don't worry. We're gonna be here for a while. Kevin, you're such
good.
a
I might grab a beer though.
Go grab a beer. Nobody's stopping you from grabbing a beer. This is we're into the twilight now, my friend. Grab a drink. No one's stopping you. Sarah's been chugging mojitos over there. So see, there you go.
Our labelless cup.
Oh, this question's come up once or twice. Is flooding a problem in Bastrop? No. Here's and we said this in the last podcast, is that or the last stream, whatever you want to call this. They're pretty well known for the fires that happened like 10, 15 years ago, whatever that was.
Yeah, it was twice too, right?
Yeah. And so some kids let off some fireworks. There's a big, massive fire. And that's been like the red eye or the black eye or whatever you want to call it of Bastrop. Other than that, I think Bastrop is a great place.
Yep.
I mean, we've said that several times. So thank God Aaron's gone, guys. Jeez. That guy was just bringing us down. Oh, hey, sorry, Aaron. There he is.
There you go.
All right.
What did you choose, Aaron?
What's up?
What did you
Dos Equis. Nailed it. Dos Equis. I know Aaron very well.
Not a Texas beer.
That is a very Texas beer.
My wife is from Mexico, so.
All right.
One?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You said the magic word. Aaron went to get a beer. Perfect. All right. So what other questions did y'all want to answer on here? Did you want to, so since we have two lenders, was there anything you wanted to plug, bring up, talk about as a lender?
Aaron, you can go.
No, I'm sorry. My headphones were cutting in and out. What was the question again?
See, showed up late, headphones cutting in and out, like this guy. Can you hear now? Oh God, Aaron's gone. Aaron's gone. I got a man down. All right, Sarah, go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, so just any kind of catch-all that I want to say as a lender.
Yeah, go for it.
So I would just say that
prepare the people for buying in Austin in this crazy ass market.
yes. Austin right now is crazy. You're not going to get anything right list price. You'd be prepared to offer over asking. Be prepared you want to have probably about 25% to be able to offer over asking. If not, just be prepared to look outside of the Austin area. If that doesn't hit your mark, I don't want to completely discourage. I don't want to be a dream killer.
Yeah.
First time home buyer and you don't have a lot of extra money, that's fine. But you're going to just need to know that you can't be really picky, or you can't find you're not going to be able to find something right in downtown Austin. You're going to need to be open to moving farther out. But if you're on the fence, we're probably going to see rates continue to increase gradually. I would go ahead, I don't have a crystal ball, but assume that we're in a rate increasing environment. So if you're on the fence to buy, I would go ahead and do it now versus kicking yourself later. I already have people doing that from last year. They wanted to wait and see what happened after the pandemic. And they're like, oh, no, it's going to go down. There's going to be all these houses that come on the market. And now they're kicking themselves because the house that they're looking at last year is like 100,000 more. And their interest rates are now starting to trickle up. So I would just say, don't wait. You're gonna have a serious cost of waiting on your hands. So if you're on the fence, go ahead and do it. And reach out to a good lender and get some great advice to help prepare you for this market.
We've got a good lender question from Roy. If you can pull that up, Jeremy.
Oh, my bad. I was group texting Aaron to see if his thing was working again. Roy, how risky is it to waive appraisals right now? Super. Looking in the 350 to 400 range, and it's alarming to see how much over asking price is required to be competitive. Roy, welcome to the Austin market, my friend. Aaron, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, okay. So, Mullet Man, Kevin, since you're the dream killer,
I heard my name earlier.
Kevin, why don't you explain to Roy how risky it is for appraisals right now?
Are you looking for a home in the $350,000 range, or is your budget $350,000 to $400,000? Because that's part of the question.
Yeah, those are different.
And your risk is like a funny word, because risk is not a finite answer across the board. It's based on your risk tolerance. So for someone that has a lot of cash, it's actually low risk to consider waiving an appraisal, because it's just the cost of doing business. If you are looking for a $400,000 house, you're going to put 20% down, and you only have exactly 20% down plus closing costs, and you're waiving appraisal, that is a high risk thing for you to do. So if your budget is $400,000, then you need to be looking at houses that are $300,000 if you're strapped on cash. If you're not strapped on cash, look in the 350 range, be willing to go to 450, waive the appraisal, and make up with the difference in cash. And maybe work with your lender. And Sarah and Aaron might actually be able to answer this too. Like,
this is a good question for them, but I'd like your opinion on things. So,
well, I'm saying, like, if you have a lender, or if you have a loan pre-approval for 20% down, and you're planning on paying 20% down, would it make more sense to shift that to a lower percentage down, and then use that extra cash if you had to come above contract price for the appraisal?
Yeah, I was actually going to add that if you had mentioned it. Because there's different ways that we can look at it to try and restructure it to still make the closing work. And at the end of the day, if you want the house bad enough, we can look at it like we're backing out some of that down payment to use for making up what we lost on the appraisal. Might change some of the finer details with relation to the rate and mortgage insurance. But at the end of the day, if it gets you the keys to that house and you really want it, could be all the difference.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's how I've been restructuring borrowers as well, is looking at the 20%. And I literally just had this conversation today, but looking at the lower down payment, and so they can free up that additional cash so they can go ahead and go above asking. Or, they know if the appraisal waiver, if that happens and it appraises low, that we still have some room to still make the deal work for them.
I think a point that hasn't been mentioned, but has been mentioned in the past, and I think Kevin, you'd brought this up before too, is the risk is going to be based on what your purpose is as well, right? So if you're investing, or if this is your primary residence, those are going to be very different situations as well.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, I mean, those were all great points. I didn't listen to any of them because this is stuff I've heard all day. So Kevin is one of those rare people that even when they say something, they often offer a new framework for looking at a situation versus just giving random opinions. So I want to say two things. Number one, Kevin, you're awesome. That's why I bring you on here. Number two, that's why I like to bring awesome people on this channel. Aaron, we'll work on you, but Aaron, look, you're the new guy to the channel, okay? So we got to give you the hardest time, right? Coming up with Georgetown asking Sal questions. Look, for a long time, Ian got all the snide comments,
South
right?
Dallas guy.
Yeah, he's the South Dallas guy. Kevin, you can't mess with Kevin because he's got a mullet. I mean, you just can't. And you, I mean, you're the new guy. Sarah, I mean, look at Sarah. I'm not going to give Sarah a hard time. All right. There you go.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jeremy, for doing this. It's fun, good information. Appreciate all you do. You're a great man. Thank you, Intel. Best real estate YouTuber in the U.S., hands down. I doubt that, but thank you.
I think so. I've seen people with way more views that aren't nearly as qualified or educated or funny. So, in fact, after I watch your videos, I get suggested other videos from a guy that gets like a ridiculous amount of views. And I'm telling you, I don't see the draw on this other guy.
I like
Good
it.
thumbnails.
Yeah, it's the thumbnails. Just do pictures of myself like this. It reminds me of the time I was. Well, I can't talk about that. So back in the day, I signed up for MySpace. I put on a little Angels hat. I had a little face like this. And I started getting some DMs from people that I was not expecting DMs. Apparently, I put my status as not a straight man on MySpace. So it was kind of eye-opening for myself.
Did you do the Michael Scott username, little kid lover?
Yeah, no, I did not.
Right?
But it was quite. You know what? It made me feel good that other people would hit on me. There you go. All right. So moving on from that, my mistake. Lender question. Here we go. I saw it. I went with two lenders, got two appraisals. One was on par with offered price. The other was 40K lower. This is a good question for our lenders on the channel because this does happen. And this is exactly why. What, Kevin and Ian? The answer is I always recommend a local lender. So can you explain why two lenders? Can you explain why you might have two appraisals that are different from each other like that?
Yeah. So appraisals are totally subjective to the appraiser. And I agree. It's very important to have a local lender that has an appraisal panel. So when we're putting in those orders for the appraisal, they're with appraisers that know the area and the market. What we see is with a lot of banks or outside lenders or out-of-state lenders, like they just pick whoever. They have no idea what the market's doing. And a lot of times they pick just the cheapest. And so I had one that I competed against where they went with us because the other appraisal went too low with the other company. And it was because they went with someone out in Florida and they didn't know what was going on here. And they didn't know the market at all. And it was way under because I researched the inspector or the appraiser, and they were like out in this tiny little town out of nowhere, and they had no idea what was going on in Austin. And they were trying to compare Austin to like mineral wells. It just made no sense. So that's why it's really important to pick a local lender so they know what the market is and has good appraisers.
Hey, Ron?
I would agree with everything that Sarah had mentioned.
I concur.
At the end of the day, it's an opinion of value. So you're using one person's opinion versus another. Just like all five of us, we're gonna have different opinions on whether to live in Buda, Kyle, or San Marcos
or Georgetown. You knew that was coming, sorry.
I like Georgetown.
I like Georgetown.
I was just
probably move to Georgetown next.
If you're asking me, I think Georgetown is. I think it's probably. If you're talking about all the suburbs, I think it's probably one of the best ones.
Yeah.
We did kind of like Leander versus Georgetown on one stream. What did we end up on? Did we end up on Georgetown or Leander? I don't remember.
We ended up having people complain about the price points.
That's right. They complain. We talked about the high price points.
You can't control that.
Yeah.
Sanjeev said that this is one of the most underrated YouTube channels. I appreciate that. You know what? I love when people underestimate me. I love that.
Maybe next time you'll estimate him.
Here's a funny.
Yeah.
Here's a funny quick story. Live. This is live. This just happened. So Rad, my friend down in New Braunfels, just told me that somebody from this stream reached out to him while we were talking about New Braunfels. So again, if you're looking at New Braunfels, his name is RAAD Realtor. Find him on there. Great guy. I love that guy. So this podcast has potential. I think if we take the mullet out and we lose a hat or two, this I'm just kidding, Kevin. I'm just kidding. Kevin's face, man. Show him the mullet. Look at that thing.
Today. How fluffy is it? It's so fluffy, I'm gonna die.
Oh, Aaron, look at this. Aaron, you're getting some love. Look at that. Agreed. Master Jedi. Aaron is badass. Look at that. See? It's going to his head now. Look. Aaron is a stone cold pimp. See, Aaron? Like and you didn't want to join. Aaron was like, oh, I don't want to be on there for 2 or 3 hours. See, Aaron?
It's been 2.5 hours and it feels like 5 minutes to me.
It feels like 5 minutes. Do you think stretching your budget to get a 1 acre lot at $500K versus a tract house for $350K is a better investment?
See,
it depends on you.
Yeah, you got to figure quality of life as part of your investment. Like, are you going to get a lot of value out of that? Do you have kids and dogs that need an acre to run around in? Right? Do you get therapy, or is it therapeutic for you to cut your grass on a riding lawnmower? Well, I don't think people pay enough attention to that kind of thing.
Do you want the strict analytical answer? Because you can figure that out too.
I'm just kidding. Yeah,
okay.
The answer
is good. Is it better? Is it a wise financial investment for you to leverage that into an investment that you're not going to sell for 20 years, or to use that difference in that money and make more money in the short term? Mm-hmm. I don't know the answer. These guys are right. Whatever you want.
Kevin's bringing an outside perspective, or that.
So that's all I do.
Yeah. Want to thank Kevin, Ian, Sarah, and Aaron for sharing their expertise as well. You all know your stuff. Didn't want Jeremy to take all the credit. Trust me, I'm not going to take all the credit for this. That's why I sit, ask questions, and listen. It's the best thing I've been at my whole life is ask questions and listen. By the way,
I think Jeremy's better than Joe Rogan. I think Jeremy needs to interview Dave Chappelle.
Look, here's the deal. I'm buffer than Joe Rogan, so but I'm only buff from like here up. But I'm just kidding. That's not true. Joe Rogan's a smart dude. Joe Rogan's a smart dude. Joe Rogan's gonna come over to my house and beat me up now. Just don't tell him I said that. By the way, I took the panel's advice last week and had gutters installed this week. Boom. There you go. See?
Yay!
Yes. The best thing you can do for a home. Here's a follow-up to that appraisal question. Fun fact, local appraiser was in person, and that was the $40K lower value. The higher appraisal was from an all-line lender with desk appraisal. Shrug. Oh, that's all right.
Opinions.
Yeah, it's still going to be random. A certain level of randomness to it.
We all just got owned right there.
Sorry.
Good job, Bar Towels.
Sarah, go.
I would say, okay, so the local appraiser, are they local to Texas, or were they local to Austin, to like wherever this place was? Because I've had that happen too, where you can see someone from like a Temple appraiser versus like an Austin appraiser is very different. I had one person that a Lago appraiser was actually different than a South Austin appraiser. So I think now, because appraisers have been busier, it's getting a little different, but I've had those occasions as well, because it's knowing where their expertise lies and what communities as well.
Yes. Robert Trek says, Ian, dropping wisdom nuggets like that. Is this therapeutic to cut your grass on a riding lawnmower?
It's like, fishing. Like, it matters to people. That's it.
Ian has been the longest member of this, besides myself, this channel, and so
Been on the channel more than you.
you've been on. Yeah, Ian's actually run my channel when I'm not here. So yeah, what's funny about this is like there's a few times I just got look. Here's the deal. I work a lot, and I put out all this content every week. I'm my own editor. It's a ton of work. There's weeks where I'm just like I cannot get a video out, so let's do the live stream. So, oops, there you go. Weeks I can't get content out. I'm doing live stream. And so I would beg Ian to come on my channel. And Ian's like, oh, God, I guess.
That's how I sound.
Nah, he never said that. But to say there's people I appreciate in this world, Ian's high on that list of people I appreciate. Sarah's number 2. Aaron, very low on that level. And then
where does my mullet fall?
Dude, your mullet, I didn't want to say anything, but your mullet is way up there, man.
It's way up there.
It's the favorite.
Hey, can we start a GoFundMe for Jeremy to get an editor?
Yeah,
No.
please.
No,
I got quoted.
content.
I got quoted at $1,000 a video today. I'm like, ugh, no, thanks. So that's
it's
$4
probably
grand a
worth
month.
it.
$4 a month, yeah, maybe.
Long-term investment though.
Jeremy, your show is going mainstream. I don't know about that. So we are all waiting for your channel merch.
Mullet on the shirt.
So I'm going to do a hat with my
you,
logo.
I'm just saying that's.
So here's the merch. The merch is going to be this. It is going to be like a symbol from the night group. So it's going to be that little castle. The castle is going to have a fedora hat, and then it's going to have a mullet on the backside. That is the logo. That's the logo.
Jesus, I could never cut my hair now.
It's going to say
it did not come from the
AF.
bourbon. That's not the bourbon talking. This is the brain right there.
It's got to say JKAF under it.
JKAF mullet, and then on the F, it's going to have the mullet on the.
I mean, you're joking, but you should be writing this down.
You're with the Home Alone face.
Yeah.
My friend calls me all the time. He's like, "Hey, remember the time you were gay on MySpace?" Tells me that all the time. I'm like, "Thanks."
You could put that on a shirt too.
Yeah. All right. Jeremy's poor wife. Yeah.
I'm not messing. I'd buy one of those shirts. Just saying.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have
Roman
to
has a good
together.
question.
Did I click on it?
Yeah.
Asking again. Sorry, Roland. I apologize. Ian over there has been drinking all the bourbon, so I'm not getting all the questions. I apologize.
We also missed one from Severum earlier. So
all right, we'll go back. All right. Any tips on shopping lenders for new constructions versus builders? This is a great question. Roland, I apologize. I want to apologize to you right now for missing this question. This is a very, very good question. Asking again, any tips for shopping lenders for new construction versus builders under contract with Bluffview and Leander? Lenders, jump on it.
Take this.
What?
Go ahead.
You want to take this?
Sure. Yeah, so I think this is an excellent question. And I think it's still smart to always shop and have like a local lender with the builder lender. I know there are some builder lenders out there that are offering some amazing incentives. And, you know, some of them you can't beat. I know some people that are offering like $15,000. Great, that's awesome. But the one thing to really consider when you're looking at a builder lender and a local lender is communication. Are you going to close on time? And also, even though some of them might be giving some builder incentives, maybe their fees are higher if it's an in-house lender. So you really want to make sure you're comparing apples to apples, and you want to make sure that whatever lender you choose is someone that you trust and will get you to the closing table, and that with all fees created equal is still what you're wanting as far as monthly payment and cash out of pocket. Because I've seen, and I know Jeremy knows this as well, we've had some deals where, you know, we had clients that went with a builder lender because of incentives were tied to it, and it did not end well. And that's happened a couple of times. So at the end of the day, it really goes with who you trust. Especially if the numbers are similar, go with who you trust and who can get you there. You know, they're just like have an influx. Builder lenders and preferred lenders just have an influx of clients right now. So do we want a cajillion, or do you want to? be special.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
Yeah, Aaron, jump in, Aaron. Everybody loves you now. You're the heart of the show. Go for it.
Second, what Sarah said, builders, they're very competitive, especially with the incentives related to using their in-house lender. And there's a lot of great in-house lenders that are out there. But at the end of the day, a couple of things that may make the difference for you may not make the difference for everybody, but some people out there, communication is a big one. I mean, heck, a client I was just speaking to in the past week, they had it out with their builder's lender because they've been trying to lock a rate for the last 2 weeks, and lender hasn't gotten back to them. And when they did get back to them, they provided them rate information from 3 months ago, which is definitely not accurate today. And
I have a feeling I sent you that client, Aaron.
you did. And
Continue.
it could be it can make a difference in the whole process. But at the end of the day, we try to be as competitive as we can be against these builder offers. And if the other deal is a better deal, we'll be the first ones to tell you. And, based on your situation, that's probably going to be the best deal for you, and I think you should take it. But you should always be weighing your options and not just going with what they're offering.
What's interesting is both of you gave very good answers, but I think there's still the gap in how do you choose, right? Because you both have fantastic answers. I think the icing on the cake is if you talk to your realtor, and this is where a realtor comes in, or even friends or whoever, the experience that person has had with the lender speaks volumes as well. I know if a lender has closed multiple deals that I put a higher level of confidence in them to continue doing so.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then at that point, do you just want it to be a one single transaction, one and done? Because at the end of the day, that builder's lender, they're really not going to communicate with you, period, after that loan closes. They're not going to keep the loan. You're not going to make your mortgage payments to them. Where when you use a direct lender, such as CMG, where Sarah and I both work, we service those loans. Our clients come back to us after closing. They ask questions. Hey, what's this with our escrow? What do we do about homestead? And we love to be there for our clients later on after closing. You're not going to get that same type of experience or treatment with the builder's lender. The moment that deal closes, they're done with you.
Yeah,
exactly. Like every client, I tell them, when you're a client of mine, you're a client for life. You're going to get a 1-year anniversary call. You're going to get, check-ins on your birthday. And we're going to evaluate each year if something has changed and if it makes sense to refinance. Has a life situation happened? Do you need to buy another home? Like, what does that look like for you? And Aaron's exactly right. Builders, you're transactionary. You're a transaction. And for us, you're a client. And we're going to be here with you because you're probably going to buy a couple more homes in your lifetime. So you get that extra attention and that confidence that we're going to continue with you.
And on that same note, if you're going to buy with a builder, it doesn't hurt to bring a realtor into that regardless. People think that they're not going to, people think they can go directly to the builder, and the builder's not going to encourage you to do this and get a better deal with the builder if they don't have a realtor. The realtor is paid out of the marketing budget of the builder, and they're free to you. Mm-hmm. Find a good realtor, bring them on the process, and get them on that contract with you. I mean, it makes way more sense to do that. They'll advise you on this as you're going versus having, not that we don't want you to come here, but imagine having Jeremy literally like a cute little moto razor in your back pocket that you can just flip open and ask questions to.
Did you say moto?
It happens. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like,
wow.
No. This is it. You go, hey, Jeremy, and then ask the question and I answer it through your iPhone. Boom. Nailed it. Screw Siri. Say Jeremy. Boom. Boom.
We're going to answer a Lago Vista question.
Yeah. You know what? I see this Lago Vista question, right? Answer the Lago Vista question. Do you hate the Lago Vista? Do you hate Lago Vista? And here's how I'm going to combat this question. is by this. How much do you think interest rates will go up by the end of the year? I'm under contract for a new build set to close in August. That's how I answer the Lago Vista question.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say 3.5. We finished the year at 3.5.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean,
You're just like, hold on one second. You're just like Kevin, and you're the dream killer right there. You're being the dream killer.
Hey,
Go ahead, Sarah.
Worse, anything short of that is gonna be awesome.
Go ahead, Sarah. I apologize.
I was gonna say again, no crystal balls, but okay. Again,
Is it because I'm sniffling or what?
Sorry, Sarah. I didn't mean to throw that out there. I was clicking comments. My apologies. Go ahead.
I don't think that's a bad guess at all. I think since right now we're looking, with excellent credit, like something in like the high 2s, low 3s right now. I would definitely say if we're keep on this rate, we're probably looking at something in the mid 3s probably. If you don't have optimal credit, it'll probably be mid to high 3s. But hopefully, it stays where it's at. Again, only time and the Fed will tell.
I'm just imagining Kevin walking into a room in slow-mo.
I carry a Bluetooth speaker in my pocket to play my intro music.
Yeah, he's gonna sound intro. I was envisioning you walking into like Katy Perry, like I come in like a firework.
I was thinking more like Back in Black, but if you pin me as a Katy Perry kind of person, I'm changing the color of my light.
Yeah, right. You got to fix that.
Oh man. Oh man. Hold on. Aaron feels like he's the guy you can trust. Excluding Ian. That's right.
Yeah, excluding me. Yeah.
Excluding Ian. Yeah. All right. Let's go back to the burning question that everyone has asked about, and that's if we can buy. Oh wait, that wasn't it.
A hood investment. That's a good question.
It was the Lago Vista question.
See that.
Here we go. All right, Nicholas.
So
what do you want to know? Nicholas, what do you want to know? Here, drop a comment. We're going to wait for Nicholas to drop a comment. What do you want to know about Lago Vista? I will let Aaron, because Aaron's the all knowledgeable of things north. Can't think of a thing south. Aaron, what do you love most about Lago?
It's scenic. I mean, you get the hills at half the price tag of what you get across the lake in Lakeway. I mean, maybe not half the price tag, but things are a lot cheaper out in Lago. Yeah, it's a little bit more distance. You got to take 1431, but it's scenic. I mean, I like it. There's a lot of great views. You get the same experience you do paying, a third or half the price of what you would in Lakeway.
Yeah, so here's the thing about Lago Vista is it's out there. It's on the other side of the lake. It's like if you think of this show, oh God, what was the show where they're running drugs through the casino? Not God, what's the movie? What's the TV show? No, it's a great TV show.
Breaking Bad?
No. Okay,
what?
Maybe not drugs.
Ozark?
Money laundering.
Ozark.
Ozark. Yeah.
Ozark.
Ozark.
Yeah.
Great.
When I think of Lago Vista, I think of Ozark, right? That's what I think of when I think of Lago Vista. There's nothing out there. You have to be going out there for a reason. Yes, there's some beautiful homes out there, beautiful place to live. But if you're going out there, you're going out there for a reason. Is it a great place to live? Sure, it's a good place to live. If Dripping Springs is an amazing place to live. Shout out, Sarah lives in Dripping Springs. Bastrop is a great place to live. Everywhere around Austin's a great place to live. I have nothing against Lago Vista. The only reason why we don't talk about Lago Vista is there's not a lot to talk about because there's nothing out there. There's beautiful lake views. It's beautiful.
Right.
Do you know what Lago Vista's motto is?
Oh, I know this. Do you know why the motto of Oklahoma is okay? Because it couldn't spell mediocre.
No, Lago Vista's motto is one way in, no way out. That's why I don't like it. I mean, that's I don't like it. If you're going to live in Austin and work, then it's not an ideal place. Although there's some pretty places on the north side of the river closer to Cedar Park, but I still wouldn't pay as much as they're asking right now. But if you're going to retire in Austin, I think Lago Vista is actually pretty sweet. You can go to HEB once a week and Cedar Park and chill on the calm side of the lake.
Park.
Yeah. But there's some beautiful places there. There's a great property I just looked up on a half-acre brand new construction for $800. I retired.
Lago has a lot of topography, so you have that scenic. You have a lot of scenery that is just a beautiful draw. But like everyone said, it's the distance to get around the lake is really frustrating, especially when there's traffic, because you're looking at a 2-lane on either side road, and when that gets congested, there's no way around it. There's just no way around it. And so unless they build, and I think we talked about this last week too, a ferry across to go over to Lakeway or something, then it's just, you're kind of landlocked. It's like a peninsula, once you're in there, Point Venture, for example, you can't go anywhere. But it's beautiful. So if you can spend the time there for a week at a time, then that's fine. I don't know what happened during the storm with power and weather and all that, but so I'm curious to know. I don't know anybody. I think everyone that I know out there is okay. I have clients that I've helped out there.
Even if you get a ferry, that won't help because what?
It's going to take forever to get across the ferry.
Well, also Lakeway.
Aaron's got to go fart.
Oh, sorry.
You got to get a mic mute button. Look.
Sorry. I was just going to say that Lakeway is bottlenecked anyway because it's like all you have there is 620, and then you can't if there's school, because I have family in Lakeway. Like I grew up out in Lake Travis. So sorry, Ian. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, but if you wanted to go to HEB, it'd probably be faster to take the ferry than to go to Cedar Park.
Oh, okay.
And Steiner Ranch Steakhouse. If you just wanted to go hang out in Lakeway, that gets you to everything you need instead of that winding thing around Jonestown. Like what's in Jonestown is a place nobody talks about. If you want to talk about a place nobody talks about, it's like a blink and then you're through it in Lakeway.
There's some pretty places there though.
Yeah, it's pretty. You have some places.
Yeah.
So Homestead Act, I don't know what they mean by Homestead Act, but I do know you can homestead your home. You're going to get tons of letters. If you purchase a home, you're going to get tons of letters in the mail for people to file your homestead, for people to file your
copy of
trust. Yeah, they're all scams, right? So your homestead's free. You just go into the CAD website and you can file it through there. So I mean, it's really not that hard to do. Kevin saw something.
I know.
This came up. I
Wow. You mean like through my shirt?
Low. I think it's
like low. Or just through my shirt?
No. I think they're just messing. Okay, so Ian mentioned in the last video, he showed Saddleback in Georgetown, great neighborhood. Said to stay away from a particular builder. What was the builder, Ian?
It rhymes with Round Rock.
Oh,
okay, maybe it's not a rhyme. Maybe it's alliteration.
Castle Rock?
Reverse alliteration.
Was it
out loud?
No, it's not Castle Rock. It was Sea Rock.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I had to call Castle Sea Rock today to see if they had inventory. And I love talking to some of the builders' online reps, right? And some of them I just want to punch to the phone. I'm not going to say which ones I wanted to punch to the phone, but I called one today. Does it take longer than Liberty Hill to get to Lago Vista? I'd say no.
It depends on traffic. If you have traffic, it takes very long. A very long time.
From Liberty Hill, yeah.
Yeah. And I live off 1431, so.
Pre-COVID, you're looking at an hour plus to get downtown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds about right.
No, that's a different Jonestown.
Yeah. Yeah, so I could see let's get some boats and start a charter company ferrying across the lake. I think we'd have some money there. It'd take 45 minutes to cost, so it would only take 10 minutes to drive the area. But all right, folks, that's it. We've been almost 3 hours. These lovely people have been on the entire time. I appreciate you. Make sure you give Aaron a shout out, Kevin a shout out, Ian a shout out, Sarah. We all love you, so give her a shout out. And if you want to shout out me, shout out me.
That's fine. I'm not going to get mad at you. We appreciate you. Have an amazing day. And I'll put everybody's contact information on the replay. If you want to contact anybody on this podcast, go for it. We all love you for it. And have an awesome day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.